This is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot 'em my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down. Aiming for greatness, no settling.
What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Phil, all caps, and I'm chilling here with my guys, my brothers from another mother, Mr. Apollo, guard up Knicks, Mr. Diehard Eru with that fire custom jersey in the back, and we are waiting on Mr. Billy. He's old, so, it takes him a little bit of time to get places, like he had a bathroom break or something he had to do, old man stuff. So we'll get to Billy when he gets here. Bully, once again, unable to be here, but he hit me up today, was very encouraging. So shout out to Billy. Shout out to all, the people that have been rocking with us this past, first episode and will be rocking with us today. So what's up, guys? How you guys doing today?
Good, man. How you doing, man? Good to see you guys. Good to see you.
We on that grown man stuff, man. A lot of working, no love. So, good to see you guys.
Speaking of no love, man, there's been craziness after craziness after craziness via Twitter. And, it's never a dull moment when it comes to Knicks Twitter and, just everything that's gone on. This past week has been crazy, not just with Knicks stuff, but obviously with politics stuff and everything like that. So my thoughts and prayers to everybody. If you're having a rough week, feel free to hit us up. We want to be more than just people that talk at you, but people that continue to build with you guys. So if you have any, questions, concerns, frustrations, feel free to hit us up. We'd love to talk about it. But other than that, man, I want to kind of just jump into it because, there is a lot that we want to talk about today. And it's just crazy, bro, to see everything that has gone on in the past few weeks with these New York Knicks. We didn't get to have an episode after, their first few games. We had our first episode after the Boston game. We talked a lot about what we thought would happen or could happen. But I'm not necessarily sure that a lot of what we've seen is what any of us thought would happen. So let's start off first and foremost with talking about the first game that we want to cover this week, which was the game against the Rockets. This game was an interesting one, to say the least. I expected it to go a little bit differently than it did, but the pace of those young kids was impressive. I'll say that. The pace of those young guys did a lot more damage than I expected it to do. So I'll jump to you first, Apollo, on what your initial thoughts are on that game, and then we'll kind of go from there.
The slow start that's just the main thing that I've been having an issue with the past two games. But since we're starting there, one game at a time, it's the slow start, man. Like, we didn't really get off to the greatest punch that you should have when you're going into a opposing arena, and you didn't set the tone the way you were supposed to. So that was it. I think they played better down the stretch, but it ended up not being enough. They just, they, especially with the refs. I can't really talk too much about the refs. It's the same thing every year, man. It's just the refs just. Jalen's getting beat up, getting tossed all over the place, and they're not calling shit. But at the end of the day, you got to play. You can't put the ball. I always say you can't put the game in the refs' hands because they will, do it as they please. So that's just it, man. They didn't set the tone the right way initially, and down the stretch, it cost them.
Yeah. What about you, Eru? What are your thoughts?
Well, the jig is up. You know what I'm saying? I think is just that the coaches are getting the scouting reports now. So, Ime Udoka, he came out and straight up said it. He said they got Karl-Anthony Towns and Jericho Sims. So we're just going to attack them like crazy. And that's exactly what they did. They were just going right down our throats and the Knicks had no resistance for it. And on top of that, since we're like being disrupted that way, we can't really guard the kick out three either now right now. So, so we're just shell shocked, I think, with just things happening. But I mean, we're kind of older, so we've been through this already. We already know how things go once teams start to come together, like new teams. We basically got a new team, so the Cardinal, the rule is like 20 games. After 20 games, everything should be kind of like they should be able to figure things out by then. But it's still early. I know it still hurts and stuff, but I think it's kind of an overreaction. But I guess we'll talk about the next game because basically the same thing happened. The same type of team we played.
Yeah. So I understand some people's frustrations and whatnot, because I understand, and we talked about it in episode 1. Obviously there's going to take time with chemistry and all that stuff to happen. We gave up continuity to build this new squad, but the crazy thing is that for 1 or 2 games, you'll see it, and then it's like another step back to what we were like hoping what would come to fruition. So the thing that was concerning for me on that one was the field goal percentage. Like, as a squad, we shot 38% for the night. Like, I don't know what team plans on winning shooting 38% from the whole night, especially because they were almost at 50% for the night, so when you look at those numbers, it's going to drastically change the outcome of the game. It's just going to do it. But also, the thing that was like a little bit weird and concerning was the fact that we were letting guys cook that shouldn't cook. Like Fred VanVleet always kills us, but the frustrating part is that up until that point in the season, he hadn't scored. Like, they kept on saying how horrible he had been up until that point. And they were like, the Rockets really hope that one day, this season, Fred VanVleet's going to, be able to shake it off. And he shook it off and destroyed us once again. And so it's things like that where we're like, okay, a guy who hasn't been able to shoot, and now we're giving him all this opportunity to not only get hot, but to continue shooting and continue to like polish what other teams have kept him from being able to do. And Sengun, Sengun's going to do what Sengun's going to do. But, when he's playing against Karl Anthony Towns, we need a little more strength from Karl Anthony Towns. Like, I don't think he's been playing soft like some people say, but he also hasn't been like dominating the way that he should some of the guys that are smaller than him. So a guy like Sengun is skilled, but he should still be able to put a body on him and like make it a little bit harder for him. And we didn't do that. We did not do that. Points in the paint, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but points in the paint on that game were an absolute like demolition from them to us. Like, it was embarrassing how lopsided the points in the paint were. And then if you look, we've also been like having such an issue finding out like how this works, like 2 games in a row, we're like, yo, look at this pick and roll, look at this pick and roll. And then we're like, oh, where's the pick and roll? What's going on? Yeah. So that's the weird thing, is like to feel like, okay, we're getting it, and then go, wait, what happened to what we enjoyed about that last game? Why are we not seeing that again? So that's been, the concerning part for me. What was something good that you might have saw in that game?
That Houston game was disgusting, man. I really don't know what we could have done, but I agree with you with that. But I don't want to keep pointing fingers at certain people or certain coaches and stuff. But Tom Thibodeau, he's supposed to get guys. He's supposed to have a game plan. He's like good for preparation and stuff like that. So I mean, you mentioned Sengun. Sengun is injured. I think he has something wrong with his ankles or something like that. So I don't understand why we didn't attack him going to the basket and that type of thing, because he doesn't have any lateral movement and stuff like that. So just the way that we've been approaching games, like attacking other teams' weaknesses or just making adjustments of like trying to get around certain things like length and stuff. We were having issues with their length. So I just don't understand what we're doing with that either. So if there's no in-game adjustments, then the players don't, are confused. They're looking to try to play hero ball and that type of thing. So everything gets, kind of discombobulated.
Yeah. And that's one thing we're going to talk about too, is, is the defense. Like it seems like, which is weird because, we always talked about how Randall wasn't necessarily like this defensive player. But it looks like we've kind of suffered quite a bit, when it comes to defense so far these last few games. And we'll talk about that a little more too. But Apollo, what I want to talk to you about is the efficiency of our starters in both these games. So in that game, every single starter was in a minus, in the plus minus. OG being the lowest at -5, Brunson being at -8, it going all the way to Towns at -26. What do you think is causing this, this like whole squad being in the minus, even though they're playing so much together?
We mentioned it, man. It's really hard to overreact at this point because, like one of the game one, the first thing I tweeted out regarding it was like, yo, this is going to be ugly for about a month.
Yeah.
And change, because what do you expect? You know what I mean? Like two guys who just came from high usage situations, fitting them into someone who dominates the ball. Jalen Brunson dominates the ball a lot. Yeah. A lot of people don't like it. Some people feel like it's needed. I'm somewhere in between. Sometimes it depends on the game. Yeah. But it's gonna take a while to integrate these guys, man. So it's chemistry. It's the confidence in knowing that. Like Cat sometimes might not want to take a shot that he naturally would take, probably because he's like, you know what, I don't want to throw these guys off. You know what I'm saying, or make them upset. Macau, same thing. I don't want Brunson, Mike. You know what I mean? Like just that extra thought, that step that you think about when you're new in a situation. Once that smooths over, I think things will look a lot better. These guys can just go out there and play freely and know, like, listen, we got. There's going to have to be a couple games where they lose. It's going to have to get ugly for a little while. They're going to have a meeting, a team meeting. We've been here before. You know what I'm saying? And once they get that out the way, they get, that they get the dust off, they start to get better. So hopefully that's what I'm looking to see towards the end of, this month, around the 20 game mark. Like you said, that's usually how it happens. Hopefully. And the main thing is we got to fight through a lot of these injuries as well. Like we do have injuries to guys that can really help this team, as much as a lot of people want to get rid of Mitch. And like I said, I'm somewhere in between, depends on the day. But he can help this team right now. As much as we wanted to get rid of him, this team, I don't know. I think I might want to keep Mitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because it's just sometimes you see what he brings and what these guys are lacking right now. And the interior is just, we need a lot more protection in there. You know what I'm saying? So, like little things like that, man. I just think it's going to take a little bit of time for these guys to gel. And once that happens, I think we'll be better.
Yeah. And I agree. It takes time. I just think it's small things that I don't think people need to blow up the whole thing and act like this is the end of the world. But I think a lot of times we don't call out the things that we're seeing because we just want to give it time, But how many times have we seen like independent content creators talking about certain things, and then you see it, after a few weeks start to come to fruition? You hear that, so-and-so, from the front office actually caught so-and-so's show, and like conversations happen. So for me, as independent content creators and people that are covering the team, I encourage all of us, anyone that's watching, that's a content creator, anyone that's, talks Knicks Twitter, say those things, because people are watching from the front office. And I think anytime that we see something, we should talk about it. I think there's a ridiculous way to swing the pendulum to the other way, where it's just like, oh, this team sucks, fire everybody. We wasted what for Mikal Bridges? And I'm like, yo, calm down, Chachi. Just last week you were praising the guy. Now you're talking about how it's a waste again. Yeah. So that kind of stuff is a little bit crazy to me. But there are things that do concern me. With that game, for me personally, I'm just not understanding the lack of shooting attempts for Mikal Bridges. It's one of those things, I know we brought him in to be a defensive minded player. I knew that, But the fact that him and OG, who are some of the best when it comes to shooting, on the corners, the lack of shooting is going to make it harder for Jalen Brunson to get his buckets. When those guys aren't shooting and people do not think that they're going to take the shot, like we'll talk a little more about like some of those things that we saw last night with that. But if they're not taking those shots, what's the point in not double teaming Brunson? I thought the whole reason that we got guys that can shoot like that and that could shoot in the midi was to make sure that Jalen Brunson was not always double teamed because people saw the multiple threats that we had available. So with their numbers being down, that's a little bit concerning for me. And I want us to go into the next game in a second. But first, I want to give a shout out to everyone in the chat right now. Appreciate you all rocking with us. My brother from another mother, Lee Escobedo. Appreciate you, bro. Shanti is in the building. So good to see you back supporting everything that is Knicks. Harlem CEO, shout out to you. Wacko in Brooklyn, appreciate you. JT Riddick, Prezi the boss, I appreciate you so much. Who else is in the building? We got Cody. It's definitely a new team that's playing a lot into the defense. When you start getting beat, your offense goes down too. Understandable. Yes, we agree with that. E. Gibson in the building. We need to improve defensively, and JB isn't getting other players involved. We're going to talk about that. Nostalgic Nick in the building. Appreciate you always showing support. Steven Vargas, appreciate you. Defense is lazy. Sometimes we saw a little bit of that yesterday. Fritz is in the building. Amazing moderator and friend and family of this channel. NY Originals, thank you so much for being in the building. Kareem Grant, so good to see you. It's been a while. Appreciate you coming over and hanging out with us. Jason's in the building. Thank you so much for rocking with us as well. There's this crazy guy. He's got great takes. He goes by the name of Die Hard Knicks Podcast. He's in the building right now in the chat. We got Max in the building. Appreciate you so much. Nick Yak, thank you so much for coming out. 4 out of 5 games. We give up 60 points in the paint, and the Celtics never tried hitting threes. Please put a center next to Cat. We're going to talk about that as well. David Smith, thank you for being here. My guy D Block, appreciate you. Salute to the panel and Knicks community. Darkosaurus Rex, and then Rogelio, we appreciate you. The rest of you who are here but not in the chat, thank you so much for watching. If you guys can, please do me a favor. As we continue to try to grow this show and grow this channel, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you can, please give it a little retweet. Let people know what we're doing over here. I know that there's a lot of people putting out content, and we're trying to elevate it every single day. So if you guys could, please like and subscribe to the Nick of Time show. Hit your notifications so that you know whenever we're going to be on, and be able to continue to support. And so this is the part of the show where we tell everybody we still got a lot to talk about. So do us a favor and grab a drink. All right? So once again, this episode is brought to you by Redwood Empire, one of my favorites out there in the whiskey world. So shout out to them. Today, we're diving into this little guy right here called the Screaming Titan. And it is a wheated bourbon. Some people are like, well, what's bourbon? Or what's wheated bourbon? Is it a whiskey? Yes. Anything that is a bourbon is whiskey. All right. Anything that is rye is whiskey. Anything that is Scotch is whiskey. All of them go under that umbrella of whiskey. So the Screaming Titan is a wheated bourbon. And so what a wheated bourbon is that it has to have a certain amount of wheat in it. And so Screaming Titan is the new release. This is batch 2. And what I love about this new series called Small Lot is that it's just got so many different flavors within, the 4 that were released. And this one, just like last week's, is absolutely delicious. So for a wheated bourbon, it has to at least in the mash bill, which is like the grains that were used to create it, it has to contain at least 51% corn and then a percentage of wheat. And so this one does. This one has, more than its fair share of wheat to be able to be considered a wheated bourbon. So this one right here is at least 30% wheat and the barrels used to make this one, all of them were at least aged 5 years. So I'll let you guys sniff that up a little bit. Like I said last week, just, swish it around a little bit, put a little nostril in there. I know it sounds weird, but it's how it's done, just so that you get the best of what it is. And so with this one, on the nose, it's crazy. You get sweetness straight up. You get honey, you get vanilla, you get a little bit of brown sugar, some kind of like pie crust. But then you also get like this apple juice or sweet tea kind of scent to it. Like it's like an adult apple juice scent. It's crazy. So
yeah, you are sick with it, man. Because I mean, everything you said, as soon as you said it, I could smell it too. It's like we're Willy Wonka's factory or whatever. Like I can smell apples. I can smell this, but I literally can smell that.
If you're in the chat, do me a favor. If you're drinking on something tonight, let me know what you're drinking on. And if you're not drinking something right now, at least let us know, one of your favorites or something you would want us to cover in upcoming episodes. And we'd love to check it out because I see right here.
Big booty Brenda right there, guys.
You love that thing. Shout out to our girl, Ebony. Ebony, I apologized on behalf of all my guys hating on Mitchell Robinson last week. We love you. We appreciate you. Thanks for bringing us together.
I already gave Mitch a shout out this week, so I'm good. I'm in the good. I'm in the clear.
Prezi the Boss, Whiskey Talk, I'm in love. This is your show, bro. This is where you got to be. So, snap. Yo, Dorkosaurus Rex. All right, real quick side note. He said, I'm drinking Balls Guarana energy drink. When I was 13, I used to be on a small little record label from South Florida, and all we drank was Balls Guarana when it dropped. And it sounds just like it does. Yeah, I was like 13 years old, and we use those all the time. No, it's an energy drink. It's not whiskey.
Okay.
So he's drinking the energy drink. But we use that to get through studio sessions all the time. And it sounds like what it is. Like they realized that the name was Balls. So like a lot of their campaigns were, using that word to kind of like make innuendos throughout the whole thing. So that was like our studio thing to see how many jokes we can make about the drink. So shout out to you. I haven't heard that since I was like 16, which is crazy because that's like 24 years ago. Bourbon is king. NY Originals. Let me know what you like. Billy, sup, fellas, loving the show. We miss you, Bully. Miss you, dude. Got to get you back soon. More Scotch talk. Yes, we will talk more Scotch. Scotch is actually what made me fall in love with whiskey in the first place. I loved bourbon, but when I, tasted Isla Scotch, a very peated Scotch, that's something I fell in love with. But real quick, let's hit some tasting notes on this real quick. Guys, take a little swig. Just leave it in your mouth real quick, just a small swig. And then after you taste that, then take 2 more sips and we'll get the actual tasting notes. So just a quick little sig just to get the flavor there. And then now you can chew on it. Man, that's good. So for those that are watching, the tasting notes are crazy. All right. So
that's smooth as hell, bro.
Yes. There's hints of honeycomb. There's sweetness. There's like a peach cobblerish kind of taste to it. Some kind of like apple juice there too, like maybe apple pie. And so it's absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious. Love it.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
This guy said apple pie, and immediately I tasted apple pie.
Last week, what do we have last week? Foggy Burrow. I actually like Foggy Burrow better than this one, but this is pretty good. This has a little bit of a burn to it though, compared to
Don't drink it too fast. Remember what I said.
Puerto Rican, man. I don't really know how to do that.
Exhale all oxygen before you actually take the sip. There should be no oxygen in your lungs at all. So exhale, then sip, and then that gets rid of the burn. So, but anywho, back to whiskey talk. But yeah, it's delicious. This right here, once again, Redwood Empire. I think this goes for like $55 on shelf. It's 96% alcohol by volume, 96 proof. So check it out. Great people behind the company, everything like that. But let's jump back into this next game. This one's a little fresh. This is the game that we saw last night against the Hawks. Man, guys, this one bothered me a little more. This is one of those games that it's not a must-win game, but it's a freaking win this game on principle. Like, do us a favor and win the freaking game. So I'll let you go first, Eru. What are your thoughts on last night's game?
Well, last night, man, just when it comes to like bums, Knicks always find a bum to give, put a battery in their back and they just go crazy. This kid, Zachary Richard, he's not a bum. He's the first pick in the draft, so he's eventually going to be a star. But same thing like Fred VanVleet the night before, he didn't really have the greatest season so far. Yeah. But he ended up having a career night, his first big night as an NBA player, 33, 7 and 3. Other guys too, Dyson Daniels, he didn't really do much offensively, but he was like hacking and whacking and slapping and tapping all over Brunson last night, man. So it's just annoying. Jalen Johnson was doing everything that he wanted, almost had a triple-double. So little things like that, guys were just so comfortable, doing whatever they wanted to do. Same thing like what Darko said the game before, that, the jig is up. How do you beat the Knicks? You attack the paint. And that's exactly what these guys did. The length, was kind of similar to Houston. Houston has rabid dogs. Their guys are like more like, kind of crazy. These guys are a little bit more, not as crazy as but they still have the same length. There was at times I didn't even know, because I do watch alongs on my channel. So like, I couldn't even tell the difference between Jalen Johnson, Zachary, and Dyson Daniels. I couldn't even tell the difference because they all have the same length and stuff. So that's what jumped out at me, man. So I mean, the Knicks were fighting. They were basically behind the 8 ball the entire game. They were trying. But they were sloppy. Atlanta was sloppy. But I said they're sloppy, but I mean they had 6 guys in double figures, so something was going right. But it's just the simple fact that the Knicks don't really know where the offense is coming from. On our end, we don't know how to get our shots, even though guys are scoring. In this particular game, guys were scoring, but we don't know where the shots are coming from. And then on defense, we don't know where their shots are coming from. We can't find guys. Yeah. So it's frustrating, man. Very frustrating.
No, I agree. Dios NYK, my brother, appreciate you so much. Phil, Apollo, and Eru, let's go. I done found y'all now. Thank you so much for coming out, man. I appreciate you. Let's see. Brunson looks like Carmelo Anthony. ISO selfish ball this year. All right, we're going to talk about that, David. What are your thoughts, Apollo? What are your thoughts from that game?
So I'm currently watching, because this is just what I remember. I'm currently watching all of the shots that Zachary, because that's what pissed me off the most, right? More than anything, I expected, us to just have a little bit of a, I didn't expect us to lose. I'll tell you that. Didn't expect us to lose. But what bothered me so much was the lack of intensity. This guy, Zachary Richard, because you stole my thunder there. I'm watching. If you look on NBA.com and you look at all 6 of the shots he made, he was open for every single one of them. My bad. Threes, not shots. 6 of the threes, because he took 10.
Sheesh.
He took 10 threes and made 6. If you look at every last one of those 6 that he made, he was wide open. And that's what pissed me off so much. That alone just bothered me. Everything else, we kept coming back. But every single time we came back and we made it a game, this kid ended up wide open from 3. And it's like, what did we learn? There was a play where Josh Hart is guarding him on the fast break. And he did a turnaround and step back to the 3. And Josh just continued to back up into the paint. What have we learned, Josh? He already hit, 4 or 5 at that point? So why every single time, every game, like you said, the first game is Fred. Now, Fred was hot, and Fred has proven himself in this league, so I can't really be too mad. And I also feel like Fred feels like, you know what, Jalen, I'm better than you. There's a little bit of that in him. Like, you can see him. You can see him. Every single time we play Fred, doesn't matter where he is, Toronto or in Houston. He goes at Jalen. So yeah, I kind of expected him to play the way he played. But like you said, Eru, the kid didn't really have it going any game before that. You know what I mean? Like this. So for him to go off like that and to have, what you said, 33 points?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like that kind of stuff can't happen. You know what I mean? And that's what bothers me, because it's like, this is stuff that we should know. I don't care if you're new teammates. Don't leave guys open. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like a scheme thing. Like, you guard guys who shoot threes. The guy already made how many? Deny. That's it. He won't even need to take a shot anymore. They wouldn't even pass him the ball if you just deny. But it's just, that's the stuff that bothers me. You know what I mean? Because that's not a 20 game thing. That shouldn't be, 20 games. We should see these guys guarding open threes. No, like, we're still playing basketball. That's just textbook stuff. So
it makes you wonder, like what are they talking about during timeouts and stuff? They're calling timeouts. What adjustments are they making? Say, listen, this guy is torching us. He's wide open. Who's guarding him? You know, we need to put a light on this guy. But they never close the door. He was open all day.
Yeah. And my attitude, if I play basketball, that's the only sport I can really play. You know, I played football, broke my ankle, said no more. So I played basketball my entire life. The moment one guy hits a shot, I think he's a shooter. I don't care. That's just how you have to judge everybody. Yeah. It's one shot. It shouldn't take him 6 out of 10 3-pointers to decide, like, yo, let's guard this guy at the end of the game. So, you know what I mean? That's, you know what I mean? I don't know. Something's gotta give.
Yo, yeah. Shout out to Dyson Daniel, because he was chopping the hell out of Brunson all day to the point where Brunson had to address it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just mentioning that because this guy, Zachary Risher, somebody should have been chopping him up the entire game, because every time he shot the shot, he was shooting it like untouched, you know, with so much confidence. You know, just the thought of somebody slapping you, you know, would kind of like snap you out of that a little bit. So you know, we didn't really do that to him. So we got to figure that out, definitely. Yeah.
So I'll give my takes on that in a second. But real quick, if you guys can, YouTube likes to take a lot of our money. We don't even make a lot of money. We barely make any money. It's your super chats that keep us going, so we appreciate it. But YouTube likes to dip into those pockets. Those very short pockets that they may be, they like to dip into them. So there's a thing called Buy Me a Coffee. It helps us. It allows you to scan this barcode right here. And what it does is allows you to tip whatever you want based off of the episode. If you think it's a good episode, if you think it's a good show that you want to support, that you want to make sure that, you know, we're able to keep on doing this for the long run, you just scan that right there and you're able to gift whatever you want towards the show. So we appreciate you guys, any love, any support that you guys are able to do. That means the world to us. So thank you guys so much. We'll leave that up for a second and then take a screenshot. You can do it whenever you want. But I do want to shout out real quick, Vision, for the $9.99 super chat. We appreciate you so much for the love and, you know, just liking what we do. So thank you. But when it comes to this game, I want to give my takes based off of what we saw in some of our chat's comments right here. So someone talked about Jalen Brunson. And, you know, I can't even find it right now. But they were talking about Jalen Brunson only looking out for him right now. And typically I bat up against this, you know, with the new NBA and, you know, stars pretty much going for their shot. But I will say last night's game, there were moments that frustrated me when it came to, you know, how Jalen was handling the rock. Specifically this play right here. I'll play this real quick.
Daniels has been all over Brunson.
I'm going to play it one more time. So he comes right here. And look at Towns. Completely open. Completely open. So Karl Anthony Towns is straight up right here as Brunson sees that he's not only passing his man, but he's got Capella in front of him. So he knows that Towns is completely alone right here. And if you look, Josh Hart is even screaming to him, pass it to Towns, pass it to Towns. So there's Josh Hart right there pointing to Anthony, one of 3 times that he does that on that play. Those are the kind of things that make me go, come on. Like, for the haters that are out there saying that, you know, like, all he cares about is getting his shot, I can only fight for you for so much, you know, for so long before someone shows me that play over and over and over again and goes, this is what you're defending? And I'm like, dang, come on. Like, that should not have been what we saw last night. You know, in a game that we're going back and forth with a team that we really shouldn't be going back and forth with, you should not be so focused on getting your own bucket that you don't look out for the rest of the guys. So that was a frustrating part for me. Then we'll bring up this right here. We always have slow starts. It's true, but it's frustrating. It's very, very frustrating to sit back and just see that some of these slow starts are based off of choices that we're making. Like Josh Hart is one of my favorites when it comes to hustle. I did not see that hustle at all last night. Like, I saw a lot of times where Josh was just kind of walking, kind of just felt upset, looked frustrated. It was a different Josh Hart for me last night. From all the games I've ever seen of Josh Hart in a Knicks uniform, that was the most disappointing one. Then, like I said earlier, Mikal Bridges. I said it on our first episode. Your X factor has to be the guy that isn't your best two, but it's the guy that, because your best two are good, that it allows your third guy to constantly light you up, to constantly put up buckets. Well, like I said earlier, what's going on with the amount of shot attempts he's making? How does Bridges only score 10? There was the game right there. And I agree. There has to be more buckets from him. Matter of fact, there's this quote that I'm going to bring up right here. Nick Muse posted earlier from Bill Simmons. He said, "What was the point of the Bridges trade? For what they gave up for him, for how little they use him. It's kind of shocking. He's like a 15 points a game guy. He just stands in the corner in crunch time. I thought he would be way more involved in their offense." That's not him saying that Bridges, like some Knicks Twitter, isn't worth the picks. It's, why give up that many picks if you're not letting the guy be what he needs to be? If you're not letting the guy give you the production that your guy that you traded these picks for should be able to give. So that, to me, is a huge thing, is the lack of what we're allowing him to do. We need to let Bridges cook a little more, and that's both on the way that we run the offense, but also on him passing up shots. Like, stop being timid. Like, yes, this is new for you on this team, but you're not a new player. You know what it takes to score. We've seen you do it. We know that you have, like, different levels of scoring. Why are we not seeing that? We need to see that. And then the last one was, our post defense has been poor. I know we were missing Mitch and Precious, but the effort needs to improve as well. I'm trying to find the exact quote. I have it in one of these slides. Let me pull it up real quick, where it shows the numbers of what we are currently allowing in the paint. And honestly, guys, it's kind of like nasty to see the numbers. So let me pull it up real quick on what slide it is, because when I closed StreamYard sucks, and it decided to close everything. All right, so it was actually from my boy Recap. He posted it earlier. So let's pull up recaps real quick. Right here. Knicks interior defense is the worst shape it's been in for years. New York was outscored in the paint last night 36-58, 22 freaking points. And in the loss to Houston, Knicks were outscored 38-62. Players have no fear going inside against the New York Knicks. Like, that is a huge difference. 20 points more in the paint, especially when your guy is the biggest guy out on the court. Like, Karl-Anthony Towns is the biggest body out there. Why the heck is that the case? Like, why is that what we're seeing? And then in conjunction to that, this goes hand in hand with that one. Let's see. It is the stats that were pulled up, and we're going to talk about this for a second because it's important. So right here, we see that offensive rating, we're fourth. Okay, cool. Defensive rating, we are not even in the top 10. And this is the thing that makes you go, what is going on with the Knicks? Like, defensive-minded Tom Thibodeau, what is going on? We traded for a guy who has elite defense in Mikal Bridges. We saw it in the preseason. What is going on now for that disconnect. So let's talk about the defense or lack thereof. What do you think is going on defensively with our guys?
I just think it's just a new scheme. Guys are just trying to figure out because just a couple days ago, 2 games ago, everybody was cheering and throwing confetti in everybody's chats. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everybody was talking. Was so happy about how well we were playing and stuff. But now we get exposed a little bit by our weaknesses. Young teams, they run the ball, they have length. That's going to be our weakness early on here because we're still trying to figure things out. So I just think that's what it is, man. Defensively, we have good defensive players, and we've shown already that we could play really, really good defense. Because I forgot which game it was, but I think Deuce had like 4 steals. As a team, I think we had like over 10 steals. You know what I'm saying? So we can play defense. So it's just a matter of teams trusting what they can do and just doing what they're trying to do, just consistently do that. So I think that's what it is. They just have to find consistency. They gotta watch tape. Tom Thibodeau needs tape. He needs tape to analyze in order to come up with a scheme to fix something, man. So I think that's what it is here when it comes to that. One thing about the offense though that you mentioned with Brunson on that play, that was a frustration play because they were fouling the hell out of him. So he was just trying to make a point that listen, they're hacking me. That's why he ran out of bounds and threw the ball off their legs. On the opposite side too, Karl Anthony Towns also had a play where Tyler Kolek was in the game. Tyler Kolek was at the top of the key, and instead of giving the ball back to Tyler Kolek to let him run the play, Karl Anthony Towns decided to wave him off and then attack 4 guys on the right hand side. Ended up getting blocked. I don't know if you guys remember that play.
Yeah,
everything has to do with trust on both sides of the ball. I think that's what the issue is right now with the Knicks.
Yeah. What's your thoughts, Apollo?
Defensively, it's chemistry. It goes back to chemistry in terms of team defense. Like I said, the one-on-one defense, like leaving guys open, like that just can't happen. But the team defense, I can actually attribute to chemistry. These guys gotta gel a little bit better. But like Cat's foul trouble, that's something that I don't know how the hell we're gonna get around. Besides for putting him at the 4 and shoving him to the 3-point line and letting Mitch take all of that, that physicality down there, because it's just like Cat just doesn't. He just draws the silliest fouls at the worst times. And you mentioned the Houston game with Sengun. A lot of the reason why he was scoring over him at the end of that game is because he was in foul trouble. He couldn't really do anything. And we can't depend on that. We can't depend on you being in foul trouble at the end of the game in stretches to where you can't protect the rim the way you need to because you're in foul trouble. So I think if anything, that's one thing that I will miss about Mitch being there, that I do miss about Mitch being there, and I can't wait till he is there, is because at least you can have someone take that physicality, and he plays defense better. We had this problem with Mitch when he was younger. He just could not stop fouling. Always. Yeah. He was always fouling. And now he's to the point where he can actually stay in the game and play great defense and not foul. You know what I mean? And that's what we're missing at this point. We don't really have it. Cat is protecting the basket as much as he can, which he's doing a pretty decent job, but he's sloppy. So he picks up fouls all the time.
Yeah.
We're not really seeing much of Hook Porty. Sims doesn't necessarily protect the rim that much. He does what he can. But we just need more.
Bro. I'm gonna try. I defend the rim just as much as Sims does. All right, let's be real. All right, me at 5'5", I defend the rim just as much as Jericho Sims does. And this is someone that wanted to see Jericho Sims thrive. I was rooting for Jericho Sims even in our preseason. When we got on with Ron from Still Knicks fans, I wanted Sims to come in. But man, that kid, it's hard to watch, man.
It's I really try not to be, I try not to. These guys have to pay bills. These guys have families as well, so I don't really like to go too crazy. I'm not that kind of person, but I'm over it. If I'm being honest, I'm completely. Yeah. I've been over it since the preseason because I haven't seen anything like we talked about it before. Year 4, what are we seeing differently?
And that's the frustrating part is it's not that I dislike Sims. I think that he's the kind of guy that I would have over for dinner. He seems to have that kind of like respectable character. But if I wouldn't pick you up on a Rucker Park pickup game, because I see your lack of skill sets, I can call it out, when you're on an NBA team, that I'm not seeing the skill sets there anymore. And I wanted to see them, but I'm not. And it's frustrating because we've seen Huck Porty does have those, he does have those skill sets that we need in a backup center, and he's not getting minutes anymore, which is mind-boggling to me. It's a little frustrating. Huck Porty needs to get in. And so I feel like while Mitch is gone, we're doing ourselves a disservice by not giving Huck Porty minutes to get better. Like we say this all the time. How do you get better as an NBA player? By playing NBA minutes. You need to be able to play against NBA competition to sharpen your skill. And so Jericho Sims has had his time. He's had time to do that. It didn't happen. Huck Porty should be out there getting minutes so that he can continue to grow, continue to build, especially because we don't know the healthiness of Mitch and Precious moving forward. We know that they're going to be reassessed, but we don't know how long that's going to be. And we don't know if that when they come back that they actually stay healthy, so we need him to be able to get those minutes. And I'm a little frustrated with Tibbs for not putting him in. Like, this is a Tibbs thing. Tibbs needs to play Huck Porty. You can't say that you see how good the kid is and then not let him get shine. Like when he is going to put up more for us than Sims is. So that's that. My point for this game was that once again, all of our starters are in the negative. Every single one. Not a single starter is not in the negative. And that's just frustrating. It's frustrating to continue to see. And pretty much, our bench is Miles McBride because Tyler Kolek, he's been lighting it up when he actually gets in. Like this kid's shooting like he's a sniper, but he's not playing. He's not getting minutes. So if you look at our bench, it's McBride playing 28 minutes, Sims playing 10, and that's it. So when people are like, oh, well, their bench scored 50 and your guys only scored 10. Well, yeah, because we only have one guy coming off the bench, and he's scoring 10 points. So, yeah, like there are 5 extra guys that come in off the bench scoring 50 to Miles McBride's 10 is always going to be, a situation. So that's the 2 frustrating things for me in that game. Is there anything? Yeah.
I'm reading the chat. I am purposely dork. For now on, I'm going to be nice about Sims all the time because I see how much it bothers you.
I mean, Jericho Sims is like under normal circumstances, he's a 15th man. So,
right.
To expect him to do anything more than what he's been doing is like, you're just asking for aggravation.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, the guy like in college, in high school, they were raving about him being able to finish with both hands. You know what I'm saying? We've seen him shoot jump shots with left and right with consistency in practice, that type of thing. So, I mean, he might be doing the work in practice, but it's just not showing up in the games. The guy has something going on in between his head. He might have the Kevin Knox syndrome, where Kevin Knox could really pass the test, but he can't really.
I've said that exact same comparison in terms of someone who's blessed with the body and the athleticism, but up here it just never connected. You know what I mean? Like Knox could have really been a really good player if he had something up there. You know what I'm saying? And it's similar. It's very similar. Of course, Knox is even better than.
So I mean that's what's missing. Like if we had Mitch Robinson healthy and if we had Precious healthy, I think things will look a little bit better. But I mean it comes right back to Tom Thibodeau because Tom Thibodeau's not prepared. Because Huck Porty, we've seen what he can do, and I'm quite sure if he's doing that in games in practice, Huck Porty must be going crazy in practice. You know what I'm saying? So. Same thing with Pacon. We've seen him do things too. Even further, my man, Warren, CJ Warren, whatever his name, TJ Warren. He played good in preseason too, but he's in the G League right now. So I mean, something's going on with the coaching staff. I don't know what they're seeing. I don't know what they already have preconceived, notions about how they want the roster to look or whatever. Like this kid that's hurt now with the shoulder, Landry Shamet. For some reason, the Knicks fell in love with this dude, and like we have no contingency plan. So a lot of little things like that, we can go even deeper than like that. The Knicks are just not really prepared for what's happening out there. So overall, that is just extremely frustrating. Man.
So this takes me back to, and it's weird. It's like I've been doing this for how many years, and it comes back to the same topic. Like how many times has there been campaigns for this? Play the kids. Play the kids. Like it's one of those things that it's like Porty has played well. Tyler Kolek, anytime he gets the ball, he has the quickest release out of anybody on our squad. Mm-hmm. And they're not just like bank shotting in. Every single three has been a splash, like straight up splash. You can straight up hear it from NBA League Pass. You can hear it. It is crazy crisp hearing that net just splash. Why are we not seeing that? Dadier was playing well. Why are we not giving him some kind of minutes? Why are we running guys like Josh Hart 38 minutes in a game when, he's struggling? Like, why are we doing that? I feel like these guys are going to be better for us if they're able to give everything, every minute that they're out there. But give some other guys some chances. Like, we're losing. It's not like we're beating these teams left and right, and it's like a formula for success. So why pivot from success? But we're not, we're not beating these teams, and we're not even playing some of the best teams in the league yet, outside of Boston. So if we're losing now, like, why not try to fix those things? Why not try to see if anyone can help off the bench, instead of them just getting contracts to sit there? Like, I get excited when I see a Porty contract, but for what? For him to sit there? Like, it's crazy to see a rookie pulling people aside and giving insight on the sidelines. You see him talking to people. Like, he sees the game. He's watching. He knows what he's talking about. Give the kid a shot. But I want to move into this next part because I think it was you, Eru, or Apollo, one of you guys, when I asked you guys, what do you guys want to talk about? And you guys were asking, is this something we have? And so I'm going to play this.
It's an identity crisis. It's an identity crisis. It's an identity crisis.
That's my guy, Pigeon John, from back in the day. Shout out to Pigeon John. But do we have an identity crisis? Like, we were the Nova Knicks before, like we kind of knew where we were going. We were team continuity. You heard that every single Walt Clyde Frazier, we got the continuity of the Nova Knicks, switching and dishing. But we don't have that anymore. So do we have an identity crisis right now? Like, to me, I don't know. Did you guys ever see the movie Memento? You guys in the chat as well. You ever seen the movie Memento?
Yes,
okay. So it's this guy. He's got this this disease of some sort where he can't make short-term memories. Okay. So
that actually was an excellent movie. Yeah.
Incredible.
With Tom Cruise. Yep.
No, it wasn't Tom Cruise.
Oh, who's this? He looks like Tom Cruise. Oh, Guy Pearce.
Yeah, Guy Pearce.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite movies of all time. If you've never seen it, it's Memento. Memento. So he walks around with pictures in his pocket and tattoos all over his body backwards so that he can look in the mirror to find the facts of what he's trying to solve. So he's got this whole story in his mind of like someone killed his wife. So he's looking at all these pictures, trying to remember who he is, trying to figure it out, trying to piece it together piece by piece by piece. But like, since he doesn't have short-term memory, as soon as someone says something else, he gets distracted and forgets what he just remembered, for that second, because he didn't take a picture of it, stuff like that. Do we kind of feel like that's where we're at right now? Like, we're all kind of just like looking to try and figure out who is this new squad? What is, like, we have the players on paper, like on paper, you even had guys like Reggie Miller saying they're going to be the second best team in the East, easy with this new squad. But besides what's on paper, are we having a hard time figuring out what this identity is going to be moving forward? I'll throw it to you first, Eru.
Yeah, I believe so, man. Like when we win, we play that defense. We're running up and down the course, so we looks like we're gonna be like that type of team. That excites me because it kind of reminds me of Clyde's teams back in the days when they used to win the championships. They used to play a lot of defense, push the ball up the court, barely any dribbles, that type of thing. But then we get games like the last two where it looks like we're trying to do something else now. We're returning back into like iso ball and that type of stuff. So, we're definitely trying to figure out what we want to do. Even like I feel like we haven't played many games, but we've been like several different teams already. In the beginning of the year, like we were having trouble finding Karl Anthony Towns buckets in that first game, right? And then now we're starting to implement Karl Anthony Towns type plays, but we just I don't know, man. It's just frustrating because like we have so much talent. So because we could look at Phoenix and how they ran stuff to get Mikal Bridges open, that type of thing. But now it gets to the point like, do we have too many people to get involved? Because while we're talking about those guys, now there's OG also. OG, he has his own way of getting open too. So how do we figure that out? And I just think it's right now the learning curve for that is pretty high, man. You know what I'm saying? It's frustrating, definitely frustrating.
Yeah. What about you, Apollo?
Can you repeat the question again? I was reading comments.
Yeah. Do you feel like we are kind of struggling figuring out our identity? Like, do you think it's one of those things where it's like, it's kind of like a buffet, like you get in line and you see all these great items, and you're like, yo, I need this, I need that, I need that. But then you sit down and it's like just not a cohesive meal. You're just like, holy crap, what did I just throw on my plate? Like I got to figure out how to eat this. What piece goes with what? What do I move to another plate and, chomp on a little bit later? Do you feel like we're kind of at that spot right now?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say, kind of like I was saying before, just figuring out players' rhythm and where they like shots. It's I don't know if it's just Brunson or if it's just the coach or if it's a mixture of both. I think it's a little bit of both. I think they both deserve some blame, but at the same time, it's on the team together to make sure that guys are included. You know what I mean? Setting off-ball screens for guys is possible. You don't have to just give someone the ball to get them involved in the offense. Screening them open on a backdoor cut. I'd be damned if Jalen don't pass the ball to somebody on the backdoor cut, because if there's anything, he's looking toward the basket for sure. So, I mean, there's other ways that everyone can get these guys involved, everyone. So, I think they're still trying to figure out, like, just what's going to actually work, because there's spurts, there's plays here and there, like, oh yeah, that looks good. Like you said earlier, they run pick and roll one game and then it looks good. It's like, oh, look at the spacing here. And then you don't see it for like 2 or 3 games. So I think they also have to figure out matchups at the same time. It has to be difficult trying to figure out who you are while teams are hunting for you.
Right.
Especially if they already know your game. So it's going to take a while. Like I said, I do think they're struggling to figure that out right this moment, because I think there might be even a lineup change that needs to happen at some point, but we're not there yet. We need to figure out what's really going on and what works and what doesn't work. So we're not there yet.
Yeah, shout out to Prezi. He said everyone needs defined roles and to get over the trades. We should not make any trades or sign anyone else until we sort this out. And I agree. I feel like we have all the pieces. We just need to figure it out. Yeah. I said it on episode 1 and I'll say it again. I really think that we need to switch up something in the starting lineup. We just need to. Like, yes, Hart is great, but I think Hart coming off with, McBride was beautiful when that happened last year. Like we dominated them on the rebounds. And the fact that right now Cat is doing, that's one thing you got to give Cat, is Cat's doing great when it comes to bringing down the rebounds. Yeah. So it's not like we need necessarily to utilize Josh Hart in the starting lineup for those boards, because Towns is pulling those down. But now you put him and grab the boards with the bench unit, because Sims is not doing that. You put Josh Hart there to work with McBride, and then figure something else out. Like Cat didn't play the 5, in Minnesota these last few years with Gobert, so he didn't have to play that massively dominant role because Rudy Gobert was defensive player of the year, before, and he was just an elite, center defensively. So there's options, move McHale to the 2. Like I said, the first episode, like you can move McHale to the 2. He played shooting guard as well. That helps him with the facilitating position with Brunson. They work off of each other, allow, OG to go to the 3 and either move Towns to the 4 and Huck Porty to the center. Like now you have a defender in Huck Porty, that helps Towns. You have a center that when Towns is out shooting the 3, he can grab the boards. And you don't need to rely on Towns to try and get back in there after shooting a 3 to grab a board. There's options. Try that until Precious Achiuwa comes back. And then try Precious if you need to, there's
until
options.
Mitch comes back.
Yeah, until Mitch comes back. There's options. And I feel like it just doesn't make sense. Like I said earlier, if something's not working, why do we not try something new? That's the frustrating part is like, if I look in the mirror and I'm like, man, I really don't like this fit today. And I go, all right. And I walk out. Like, if I look like a fool, I look like a fool. That's on me.
That's on you.
Like that's no one else's fault. But if I look and I go, yo, this really don't match, like I need to fix my fit, and I fix it, then I can walk out in confidence because I know I did what I was supposed to do. I know that I'm holding myself to a standard. And that's what I want to see with Tibbs right now with this roster. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Yo, I appreciate you right now. There's 106 rocking with us. I know that there's other things going on as well, so I appreciate you. If you guys can, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Give us a retweet on Twitter. I would love to see some of our Twitter family come up in a little bit for the open panel. I see all you guys chatting, and I love your guys' takes. And we will have an open panel at the end of this, so we would love to hear some of your guys' thoughts. We got Nick P in the building. Appreciate you. Right here. Yeah, exactly. Get Huck Porty in there. Shot blocker next to Cat. That's what we need. That would be great to watch. 718 Fresh. Johnny Bryant wasn't the reason Knicks was good last year. It's true. He helped. But he said Tibbs has a loose screw. Yeah, we all know that. I think Tibbs knows that. DN is in the building. Sherwin, appreciate you so much. I love this. Ariel Huck Porty is an old school center. He is a 15-minute max player with the soft NBA rules. Maybe so, but in my opinion, Rudy Gobert is an old school center. Like he's not a stretch big. He's not a massive put up buckets kind of center. And we see what he's able to do. So I agree with that first part, not necessarily with that second, but I appreciate your thoughts on that. I see all of you guys chatting it up. David Smith. Yeah, great conversations. Who else is in here? Lee Escobedo, early Christopher Nolan, DJ Dax. Appreciate you coming in. But yeah, once again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If there's anything you guys want us to talk about, let us know. If there's anyone you want to see on an upcoming episode, let us know. Next week, we do have friend and family of the show in Dexter Henry joining us. So we're looking forward to that. The week after, our guy, Mr. Anthony MSG, will be joining us. And we'll keep on going through that list. But if you guys have anyone that you want to see on the show, or any cocktail or any whiskey that you want highlighted on an episode, let me know and I'll make sure that I get that to our guys. But let's move to the next part of the show, guys. All right.
Well, I wanted to piggyback on what you were saying. Yeah, piggyback what you were saying about just being prepared and stuff like if you look funky, you fix yourself up or whatever. But even for like working men like us, right? We in the car, I got everything that I need in the car. So let's say if I wake up late and I got to get to work, to make money and stuff like that, I got deodorant in the car. I got a toothbrush, toothpaste in the car. If I need to shave my head because I forgot to shave my hair, I looking like Bozo the Clown. I got clippers in the car. If the battery goes dead, I got a battery charger. You know what I'm saying? I got a spare. I'm well prepared for anything that's gonna come at me, man. So if I get a flat tire in the middle of going to work, I can literally pull to the side of the road and change my own tire because I got all the equipment. So the thing with everything that's happening now, there's a lot of things that's happening that can easily be fixed. Like simply finding this kid what is his name? The guy that was shooting the threes last night. Like, how come we couldn't find him and there was no adjustments made to try to attack this kid? So that's all on not only Tibbs but the entire the coaching staff and every player out there that we're just not utilizing all of the things that we have, at our disposal.
Yeah, and I agree, man. Like the whole thing is like, if we were at a deficit of talent, then you just kind of embrace it. You kind of just go, it is what it is. We just don't have the skills. We don't have the talent. We're outmatched roster wise. But the fact that that's not the case is the frustrating part when we see certain things happen, because we're just like, come on, we know we have what it takes. We know we have the resources on the bench. Let's at least give it a shot. But this is a new segment, guys. You guys don't even know about this one. So here's the little segment that we're going to do right here.
Let's talk about it.
This is called Let's Talk About It. All right. And so I pulled up some of my favorite tweets over the past few days, and we're going to talk about it here and in the chat. We're going to see what, some of Nick's Twitter and Nick's Facebook has to say about this squad, and we're going to share our thoughts, because this is always amusing to see what's going on in our community. We're not even going to talk about this one. This one to me is just the tweet of the week, because it had me cracking up. So shout out to my guy, Doug. And once again, have your guys, own political views. This isn't a politics show. Politics, ruined so much when it came to my old network. I'm not doing any of that. But this was a funny tweet, so I'm highlighting it. Here we go. Where's it at? Mr. Dougie Doug. Doug said, Trump's presidency I can handle. Knicks being, I don't know.
Yeah, Doug is great, man. He has a lot of good tweets.
I second that.
Yeah, one thing you kind of just go, all right, well, nothing I can do about it. But the second, as long as we've been Knicks fans, it's kind of hard to stomach that. So, but here's the first tweet we're going to talk about. All right, let me pull up lucky number 1. Knicks Beast. All right. He had his panic-o-meter. How are we feeling? 36% said not worried. 51% said we're a little bit worried. 8% of the fan base is very worried. And 5% of the fan base is very panicked. That's 221 votes. I voted a little worried, So first.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. All right. So there's your answer. What about you, Apollo? What would you say your answer to that would be?
I'd say I'm a little worried as well. I wanted to go with something different because I don't want to just, piggyback off of what you guys say all the damn time. But I'm a little worried. I can't say I'm very worried. I can't say I'm not worried. Can I say I'm not worried? I'm going to say I'm not worried. I'll say I'm not worried. I'm not worried.
Okay. All right. Chat. What are you? If you are in the chat, are you not worried? Are you a little worried? Are you very worried? Or are you in full panic mode? Me personally, I put a little bit worried. Not because I don't think we got this, not because I think we are screwed, but because you see other teams that are clicking in the East. You do see other teams that are clicking in the East. And even if we're not gelling the way I thought we would gel, and I even said it in first episode, give us some time. We're going to need it. We did the trade right before preseason, and, none of our guys knew what was happening, so it was shocking and alarming. The only reason I'm a little bit worried is because you do see teams that are still with that cohesion. They are still building on that continuity. I don't know how long it's going to last, but the Cavs are on fire right now, which pisses me off, seeing them thrive the way that they're thriving. Everything's hitting on all cylinders. They're learning how to play with they learned how to play with each other, and now they're doing it left and right. The Celtics, same thing. They even have some guys that are injured and not here yet, and they're still, doing what they do. So wanting not worried because I don't think that we can, but worried because I don't see, like we just said before, we see things not working and we're not seeing any attempts to change and find something that works. That's what gets me a little worried. Like if Tibbs was like, Huck Porty, get your butt in there. Let's see what you could do. Hey, Kolek, we need more scoring next to McBride. Let's see what you can do. Hey, we're going to switch up this roster. It's not working, with the starting lineup. And so with all the changes that we made, like Lee Escobedo said, they had no changes to the roster. That's a huge benefit for them. But with the changes, we need to explore and see how the pieces necessarily fit together. So that's my thoughts on that. Anything else you guys want to say on that topic?
Well, just every season, let's say even like the Knicks, when the Knicks were losing, right? Like we would actually start the seasons pretty good, but then when it gets to a certain point, we just go back to the hole where we belong. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm afraid. I'm afraid that like once we do get to the 20 games, let's say the problems that we're having now never gets finished, and now we're gonna be that team that all of a sudden is falling into a hole that we shouldn't be in. So that's what kind of scares me, but it's not to the point where I'm panicking. But I'm very aware of that could possibly happen. So that's where I am with it.
Yeah. And that's a great point. It's not necessarily will we get it together, but how far behind the 8 ball will we be when it clicks? That's the problem. Shout out to my guy, Jay from East New York. If you guys aren't following Jay, follow him. I love Jay. This young kid is great, has great takes. Puts on some really great spaces. So please follow him, support him. He has always been a supporter of what I do, and I'm thankful for him. He says, a little worried we are not playing well defensively. Our defense has been a stable when all else has failed. Can't say that right now, but I'm optimistic as we get healthier, we'll get better. And that's true. That is always a concern, is when you're known for being that defensive team, and you're known for having the defensive coach, and then you can't even crack the top 10, it brings a little bit of worry. So I appreciate it. And then last one I'll read is Prezi. He said, it will click. I truly believe this is the Mike Malone situation all over again. I hope you're right. I think we're all agreeing with you that it will click. We know it will. These players all have the talent and the skill sets and the basketball IQ to make it click. It's just the when that's the question. So hopefully sooner rather than later. So let's go to the next slide because I want to see what else everyone has to say. And this is in conjunction to that. It's kind of an answer to that. It wasn't tweeted as an answer to it, but for anyone who's like, burn it all down, we suck, this might help you a little bit for the 5% that voted there and anyone else that thinks that we're in big trouble. Shout out to Tommy Beer on this one. He said Knicks record through 7 games last season was 3-4. We went to win 50 games. Knicks record through 7 games in 22-23 was 3-4. New York went to win 47 games. But sure, go ahead and fire up those hot take cannons for clicks. So, when you step back and you look at perspective and you're like, all right, last year we had a rough start too. The year before that, we have a better team than we did that year for sure. Mm-hmm. And we started off with the same record. So that gives us a little bit of, okay, let's chill it out. Let's ride this out. Let's figure out what's going on here. So we don't have to talk about that one. It was just in addition to what we talked about before. But let's talk about this one right here. All right. So we're going to go with, boom, Billy. I don't know what the heck happened to Billy. He was supposed to be here hours ago, and he never came. So, Billy, we love you. We hope you're doing good. If you need, you fell along the side of your bed, like in those old commercials, just grab your cell phone, give me a call. I'll send someone right over. I got family in Indiana. They can come help you, pick you up back in your bed.
Life alert, man.
Yeah. If you got life alert or whatever you need help, just let me know. We got you, bro. And so right here. Billy said, I've slept on it and I've come to the conclusion that two things can be right at the same time. Knicks offense has an identity crisis, and Brunson got to make better decisions down the stretch. After all, he is the captain, and he's got to be better in all things. Also, the defense is soft. Absolutely no rim protection, and the perimeter defense is in question as well. Only 7 games into the season, but I don't need 20 games to know that this team has identity issues. So this is what we talked about, the identity crisis situation. And I got to agree with him in the fact that in previous years, we've been like, what the heck is going on? Defend the 3-point line. Like, why are you not defending the 3-point line? But now we're saying, where are we defending? Like, we're running out to the 3-point line, not getting to our guys in time. And we're not doing anything, in the paint either. We're getting destroyed in the paint. So what are we doing? Like, where are our elite defenders? Where is OG and McHale causing the ruckus that we saw them cause those last few games in preseason? What is happening there? Because even when McHale's shot looked broken for that second, like we were like, but his defense was elite. Like, that's something that is still super valuable. So what is going on with that? And then also to his point, like someone made a post that said, I love Jalen Brunson, but in his post game, I know he's going to say, I just need to do better. He said, but when's he going to do better? Like, what, when is he going to do it? And so Brunson's one of my favorite players, but these last few games, he has, done a lot of dribbling to nowhere, like his defenders have had him on lock. And I thought the point of having so many wings and offensive, threat players was so that it didn't have to fall solely into Jalen's hands, and that with the distribution, it would open up easier buckets for Jalen. And I'm not seeing that right now, and that frustrates me a little bit. So I'll go to you first, Apollo. What are your thoughts?
I mean, especially regarding the Jalen situation, there's times where I wish he would just pick his head up sometimes. Like he it's like a bull in a china shop kind of thing. A little every now and then. He just it's really hard because at the same point he's our best option to score, and this is the kind of thing that happens when you have a point guard who's your number one option, who's your best scorer. It's how do you decide when to pass the ball? You know what I mean? Does he see a shot that he doesn't like? You know what I mean? And I don't think there's many, but I think he is smart enough to make the right decisions at the right times. But it's I don't know. I think that personally, I would like for him to play a little bit more point guard and get everyone involved a little bit more. This way, it opens up your game. You don't have to do the one-on-one thing so much if you would just get everyone else moving, you know what I mean? And you get a lot of open shots that way. But I just feel like he does a lot of I don't know, man. I don't want to complain about what he's bringing us because he needs to be who he is. You know what I'm saying? He needs to be who he is and do that efficiently. And if he does what he's doing efficiently, then I have less issue with him passing the ball so much, but it hasn't been efficient. Yeah. And that's my issue. If it's efficient, then all right, keep doing what you're doing. And that's kind of where I have been in the past with Jalen, but he hasn't been as efficient this year. It's like teams are starting to say, all right, well, we know what the game is. We've watched enough film. We know he's going to hit you with the head fake. You know what I mean? His game is starting to become a little bit more predictable. So he needs to add things to his repertoire in terms of using his team a little bit more. And that's just what I see with it.
Yeah. I wish I had one of those Funk Master Flex horns right now because Lee just came into the chat and he's speaking my language. McHale at the 2. Yes. Yes. Who the heck got that? Eru, you have
Eru.
What? How do you have that just unlocked? That's crazy. All right.
I got a soundboard over
You got
here.
a
Oh,
soundboard.
okay.
This guy.
All right. I need one. I need one of those. But no, I agree. You know, put him at the 2, move everybody up a little bit,
Yeah.
changes things. But here's the one thing I want to talk to you, Eru. I want to throw it to you on this, okay? Because I don't ever want to take away what Brunson does well. Like, that's never what I want to do. Like, that's like saying that Allen Iverson shouldn't have been a scorer first. You know, like, come on, stop. You know, that's his game. You know, like, people looked at that as like revolutionary. Now people are complaining about it. You know, like, so for me, I don't want to take that away from Brunson. I think he's great at it. The problem is forcing something when it's not there. Like, when you use your teammates, it allows you to do what you do even better.
Yeah.
Like, it allows you to be great. And so I think the problem is we have to realize too many times Jalen Brunson relies on, even if I don't make it, I'll draw contact and get to the foul line. Well, it's proven last season, the season before, this season, he doesn't get the whistles that other people get. Like, he's not going to get them. Like, he doesn't. You know, for some reason, either it's because it's New York and people, you know, treat New York Knicks a certain way, or because they go, oh, the contact's there because he's smaller. You know, like, they write it off. Same thing with Towns. Towns isn't getting those buckets, you know, those calls either. So if we're relying on getting to the foul line, but history is showing that we're not going to get to the foul line, then we need to switch it up. Like, let's not rely on trying to get to the foul line. Let's try to rely on figuring out a way to get an easy bucket. And I feel like our guys get so tired because we look to score the hardest way. Like, it gets a little frustrating when you see teams score so effortlessly against us. And then on the other end, it's like so much work. Like, the guys put in so much to get that bucket, you know? So I feel like we need to shift things a little bit.
Yeah.
So what do you think for Jalen Brunson and the starting lineup? What tweak do you think changes things, Eru? Like, what things do you really think would set us to that next level?
Well, he needs to let the ball go. I would just taught this, like, if when you're playing basketball, you let the ball go, meaning you let the ball move around a bit, let people touch the ball, whatever. Like, the Knicks have this like weave thing that they do, you know, that like 3 guys touch it, but then Brunson still ends up with the basketball. But then Brunson gets into this thing where if he doesn't have his thing going, now he's like trying to prove it to the refs. So look, this guy's fouling me. So now it's Brunson versus the refs now, rather than him actually trying to do anything with the team. So that's very frustrating, man. So the concept of letting the ball go is, it's like if you let it move around, eventually that ball's going to come back to you. And that was the issue that I always had with Carmelo Anthony when he was here, is that he held the ball too long with the jab step. If he let the ball go a little bit, let it spin around, it's going to come back to him because he's the scorer. So if the Knicks can't get a bucket going around, whatever, it's going to come back to Brunson. Then Brunson could do his thing. But at that point, the defense would have had a little bit of stress. You know, they would have to chase the ball down. You know what I'm saying? To take a little steam off the defense. So that's been a problem with us, right? Especially against Houston and the Rockets. We weren't moving the ball around. So on defense, guys were just sitting back. And then when it came to the offense thing, everybody was in position to get down the court and do whatever they need to do. So that's why it seems so easy on their end. Because like most teams, when they play us, they're just doing a simple pick and roll, drive, kick. You know, if the layup is not there, they just simply drive and kick, and then that's how, you know, the Knicks are getting lost out there. So, you know, we just have to trust, you know, the depth that we have, you know, and just move the ball, and then whoever has a shot, they need to take it. Because there was one time, I'm not sure if it was the Houston game or the Atlanta game, but OG was so wide open, he jammed it in the corner to, I think, Josh Hart. And like, I did it live on the air. I almost like punched the hole in my screen here, because it's like, yo, man, you're wide open. Shoot the damn ball, bro.
Yeah. That was the game versus the Hawks. Like, you even saw his leg like it buckled under him when he went to move. Passed it to Hart. Hart was wide open, didn't shoot the 3, and then tried to fake going in and then passed it out again. Like, it just wasn't pretty. Like, even there was one play that frustrated me so bad too, where Jalen, I think it was like a minute and change left of the second quarter yesterday. And Jalen dribble, went in, jumped in the air, had nowhere to go after, all the other guys were on the, outskirts just waiting for the ball, runs in, realizes that he's in the air, can't go anywhere, goes to pass it out. They pick it off, and it's an easy bucket the other way. Like there's not the thinking before acting isn't there right now. And that's one thing we definitely need to change. Appreciate everybody in the chat right now. Over 115 of you guys rocking with us right now. Once again, if you have not yet, please head to Twitter, hit that like and that subscribe button, turn on the notifications. We are with you guys every Thursday at 8 p.m. talking Knicks, whiskey, and cocktails. And we would love if you guys continue to rock with us on our old channel. We built a family, and that's what we want to do here is we want to build a family. So continue to rock with us, continue to, be part of what we're doing here. And if you can, like we said, scan this right here, buy us a little coffee. We like coffee. Get me a little latte, get me something to drink. It's not a lot, but it helps us keep the lights on, helps us continue to do things. One day it'll let me be like Eru and get a soundboard so I can do the bow, bow, bow on my own. Because right now I can't. Yeah, one day I'll have one of them. But all right, so Billy's here right now. Boom, boom, boom. Billy, if you can, in the top right, there's a little edit icon right there. Click that, and it'll allow you to add your Twitter, and we'll stream that to your Twitter as well, so that all the Twitter heads can come hang out with us. What happened?
It wouldn't let me do it on mine.
No, it says that yours is there, Apollo.
It does?
Oh, it says an error occurred. We inform them so that they can fix it.
Yeah, I saw that also. It's like an error message.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, well. That's cool.
All right. Well, it is what it is there. Still trying to figure out this StreamYard thing. They've made some changes. Some of it I really do not like. But let's get to this next topic of conversation from our friends on Twitter. Always have something to say, and I love it so much. So let's go to the next one. Boom, present. All right, that was that. Let's see. Did I do this one? Oh, okay. John Macri said the Towns overturned goaltend happened with 2:46 left. The entirety of the time since has possibly been the worst close to a game of the Tibbs era. Knicks completely imploded. Like, this is a guy that's been covering the Knicks for quite some time. Shout out to Macri.
Yeah.
Sometimes I agree with him, sometimes I don't, but props to him for what he does. But yeah, that last bit of basketball was rough. Like, I think we gave them like a 16-point turnaround in that fourth quarter. Like, it was pretty ugly. And so we have to be able to close out these games. And yeah, I think it's, Lee's like, oh, it's an overreacting. Yeah, I've seen pretty, some bad stuff in the Tibbs era. But it was a pretty bad end of a game. Like, I'll agree with that.
What made it bad though was that Atlanta, they were giving us every opportunity. I think they missed 2 free throws at one point too. So the Knicks, they just could not finish it up last.
Trae Young was missing layups and shit. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. So I agree. Maybe a little bit of an overact, but it was a bad closeout. Because here's the thing. The reason it was a bad closeout to me is because we've come so far from the times of having to pod and say, here comes the fourth quarter of death again, or third quarter of death again, or here we can't close out in the fourth again. I don't remember the last time I had to say that, but these last few games, it has kind of been a little bit of deja vu from that, but once again, the continuity will come over time. But how about this right here? All right. Forget the Brunson part, but Tibbs must run way more post-ups for Cat. Cat has a hook shot. Tibb must utilize that skill. Why? Because that would open up the perimeter more. How do you guys feel about that? Because one thing we've always said is like the worst thing is to have skills that can be used to make the job better. And them not be utilized, like to leave your talents and your skills, on the court. And I feel like we have seen a lot more 3-point Towns than we have post up hook shot Towns, especially against some guys like Sengun and Capella that aren't the greatest, when it comes to, botting up, their big man. So what are your guys' thoughts on utilizing some of the skill sets that we haven't really utilized when it comes to Karl Anthony Towns? I'll go with you first, Apollo.
I think we should see a little bit more of him in the post, especially because he can make out of the post, and we've seen the passes that he's made out of the post. We know what he's capable of in that situation, so I think we should utilize it a little bit more because, like you said, it would open up some more shots for Jalen. You know what I mean? And I think and not just Jalen, for everybody else. You know what I mean? I think we're saying Jalen right now because at this point, I appreciate you, man. At this point, we're saying Jalen because he's the guy that needs to make the most change out of everyone. You know what I mean? He has to adjust how much, he has the highest usage. He has to adjust that. But, I think Cat you have him in the post. He can make the pass out of the post. We've seen him make an overhead pass the other night. It's you got to utilize that. It's a strength of his. He's not everybody has this soft thing about him. He's very wise about when he goes into the post. He also will make it easier for himself if he goes into the post and they start getting scared of him. He starts hitting that hook shot. Automatically, what they'll try to do is they'll build a wall and stop him from getting there, and then he can pop out and hit the midi or the long 2 or even the 3-point, depending on what the situation is. So I think you should run a little bit of the offense through Cat in terms of just using the post, because you might open up a lot more for McCall and other guys and even OG to hit a lot of those open threes, because guys are going to try to help him if he's good in the post. Whoever's on that side, if it's OG's guy is going to try to help, if it's McCall's guy is going to try to help, and that opens up a 3 for both of those guys who can hit the corner 3. So I think for sure, I think we can use Cat a little bit more in the post.
So I think that's a great point, because someone said, I think it was, Nick Yak. He said, Cat's driving has been a surprise. And it has. Like seeing him, take the ball, kind of football, grab it and bully his way kind of into the lane. That has been great. But this isn't so much for Karl as it is for everybody else, like Apollo was saying. Because if he's on the 3-point line, that doesn't really help Brunson, because Brunson's the guard that kind of has to start at the 3-point line. Like his dribble, his facilitating, all that. Like when he's trying to get a bucket, he starts trying to get a bucket from the 3-point line. Like he's not a guy that catches it in the midi and then figures out a way to score. He's trying to get it from the top and then work his way in, whether it's step back, whether it's spin, whether it's drive. He has to start from the top. But if all the defense is on the top, because OG is out at the perimeter, Bridges is out at the perimeter, because Bridges, he should be posting up as well, or OG a little more. But if Towns is down low and there's that risk of him hitting a hook or facilitating to one of these guys, it now opens up the options. Now it allows Brunson to have a little more freedom to either catch and shoot or catch and only have to get away from one guy. Because what he's dealing with is Karl's up there as well. He starts driving, and like you saw, Clint Capella will sneak out, and now there's 2 guys on Brunson. And Brunson, being smaller than these guys, now has to throw over their center to try to get to Karl or to somebody else. As opposed to if Karl's in the paint, drawing attention, and then he's able to dish out to Brunson. And then if defense comes to Brunson, Brunson has a quick, easy pass to somebody else. So I think him having a little more offensive presence posting up and not just driving opens up our game so much more. What are your thoughts, Eru?
Well, all the comments sound like we need to get Julius Randle back, because Julius Randle was the one that used to pound it into the paint. People said that he dribbled too much and he holding the ball too much, but it sounds like that's what everybody wants. They want somebody to be back in the post again. But traditionally, Karl Anthony Towns, we've been trying to get that guy in the post since he was in high school. And in college, he was a post up guy in college, but still he was still in the perimeter too much. So just the way that he scored, traditionally, even like his best season, I think he shot like 7 threes one year. I'm just looking at it. Just on average, he's averaging 6.7 threes per game for his career. So the guy just lives out there in the perimeter at the top of the key. Same thing, if he's posting up, it's usually in the high post, and he does that, cut across the lane looking like Patrick Ewing going towards the middle there. He does those type of actions. So, you made the trade, so now we have to implement what makes Karl Anthony Towns go. We cannot force him to do stuff that he hasn't done before. That goes with everybody else too. This guy, OG, traditionally hasn't rebounded well as a player, but he's playing power forward and he's being required to rebound. Yeah. So things are clunky, man. We're forcing guys to do things that they haven't done before. So that's a little bit frustrating too, man.
So I agree to a sense. I don't think anyone wants a Randall style offensive game because we wanted to stretch big. But it's when you become predictable, the defense is not worried. Like that's the thing is when you see a team like Boston, you don't know if Porzingis is going to take it in. You don't know if Porzingis is going to be out at the 3-point line. Same with Al Horford. You don't know if Tatum's going to back you up in the post or if he's going to light you up from 3 or if he's going to get, a pass on a cut. Jaylen Brown, same thing. Derek White, same thing. It's the keeping you guessing thing, Karl Anthony Towns, we love that he can hit the 3 because he's lighting it up. He's doing a great job there. His drive is good. But once again, it's the helping of the other players. Putting some minutes of bully ball into his repertoire, not for him necessarily to score, but to draw attention. Yeah. That's the problem we had with Randall, was that like if Randall was playing nonstop bully ball, it was bully ball, but dribble, bully ball, and there was a lot of like not knowing what he was going to do when the double teams came. If he was able to just throw that in a little bit, it would help. And I think we'll see that over time, but we'll see. So we're going to go to this next part, but Billy was able to make the call for help. He pulled a hip, trying to get out of the shower, called, had some family help him over. They got him back on his feet. And now he's sitting in the chair. So we're glad the old man is with us. We're going to bring Billy up. And this next topic is for Billy. What up?
What's going, bro? What's good?
All right, Billy. So we're going to talk about this before we do the open panel. All right. This is going to be a topic that, all of us have something to say. I want to hear from the chat as well. But there's a little clip from one of my favorite movies back in the day called Dazed and Confused.
Oh, yeah, Mitchie. We're looking for you, pal.
That's great, man.
So Mitch, what the heck? Like, there is what we could say is a need for what he does. Because his skill set is something that would benefit us right now, whether it was off the bench or whether it was next to Karl Anthony Towns. Regardless, we could use his skill sets right now. So what do you guys think about the return of Mitch? Where would he fit? And how do we fit? Ebony said, I told y'all. Here's the thing, Ebony. I have not swayed about Mitch being our center last year before we had an offensive-minded guy like Karl Anthony Towns. Now that we have a guy who can stretch the floor, I do want Mitch's defense back. But it's different. So Nick Yak said bring him in the starting 5. I want to hear your guys' takes. And when Mitch comes back, how do we get good basketball Mitch without emo drama Mitch? All right? If you follow him on Facebook or Twitter, he's always got something to talk about, always got some crazy thing going on. This was his most recent Twitter post. Look me in my eyes and feel my pain. You beep. don't know beep about what I go through on a daily basis. Beep, y'all, straight up, and I'm standing on that. Like, I don't know who he's talking to, but goodness gracious, is this like, yeah, Billy's like, he's talking to me. Like,
He's talking
is
to Knicks.
this like,
He's talking to Knicks Twitter.
this is Julius Randle's thumbs down to the Knicks community? Like, what are your guys' thoughts on Mitch as a player coming back, Mitch with the drama, all that stuff? I'll go with you first, Billy, since you just got here.
First of all, shout out to all y'all, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Hope y'all having a great week.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This team is lacking Mitch. This team is missing Mitch. The interior defense is trash. The defense as a whole is trash. There's no attitude. The Knicks don't fear nobody. They're going in the paint. Like, we just gave up more than almost 130 points in the paint the last two games against Houston and Atlanta. We have absolutely no rim protection. Yeah, it says Cat got 3 blocks, but those are like, as Nick's Twitter would say, inflated stats. Like, they're not impactful. Not impactful at all. Rebounds, we're getting killed on second chance. We're getting killed on rebounds. Therefore, it makes it ineffective for our offense to go at a faster pace of what we thought this team will provide. Because, like, even last night, the Atlanta Hawks shot 100 shots. We had 16 less of them. And we got out-rebounded. When you get out-rebounded, you're going to lose possessions. You lose possessions, you're not going to have the offense. Mitch provided that part, especially on the defensive end and the rebounding. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm biting all my words. I'm eating crow right now.
Well, I got you.
Yeah. No, all jokes aside, man, look, Mitch gave us an identity on defense, and we thought that we could cover that up. Now, to be clear, I was not a huge fan of, again, I'll reiterate this. When the rumors of Cat and Julius were swirling throughout the whole summer, I really didn't like. I was like, Cat give us the outside shooting, but Julius gives us the bully ball aspect of things. You know what I'm saying? I've been watching Cat since he's been in Kentucky. He pretty much has the same game, and the only thing that's improved is the outside shooting. Post play, picks and chooses when he wants to go to the post. Takes him a while to get established in the post and all that. But long story short, man, Mitchell Robinson is missing. Gosh, I know Ebony's laughing at me right now because it's Mitchell Robinson is missed right now. But with that being said, all these injuries hurt us. Every injury that we have right now hurt us. Shamit was a rotational guy, every game rotational guy. Preston Chewis was an everyday rotational guy. Campaign, he's been missing the last couple of games. Campaign can honestly go into work and be like, "Hey, y'all haven't won a game that I missed." And Tibbs is not play the guys. Play Hawk Porty. Play Hawk Porty.
Yep.
I want to see Sims no more. Play Hawk Porty. I don't know. It's the perfect time to find new juice on the bench, honestly, man. So.
Yeah.
All right. Eru.
I'm not a fan of Mitch Robinson, but I understand that we need his help on the defensive end, but the guy can't do anything else but play defense, in the post. You know what I'm saying? Another thing with Mitch Robinson is it's going to take him 2 weeks for him to get warmed up to play defense in the post, man. That's what's annoying. That's what comes with the package of Mitch Robinson. But yeah, of course, Mitch Robinson can help out, but just to piggyback on what Billy was saying there, Tom Thibodeau has pieces to use, bro. Like, if you don't want Tyler Kolek to run the offense, he has a ratchet. The guy's jump shot is incredible, man. So, like, have somebody else run the offense and let at least take advantage of his shooting ability. So, like, you have the assets to the talent to use on the roster. So you need to use the guys that we have. There's no excuse. There's no excuse to play guys 30-something, 40 minutes and all this, every single night when we have players that can play. And we're talking about rookies, yes, but Hawk Porty is actually a professional basketball player. He played in Australia. Same thing with Pacome. He was playing professional basketball in Europe, so these guys were playing professional. So they're not rookies per se. That's why Pacome looks so good and so crisp. That jump shot is he has no fear. So let these guys play and stop the BS. That's the main thing here. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to give Mitchell Robinson credit, because look at just judging by what he puts on social media and stuff like that. Like, a lot of us, we argue with each other about the stuff that we put on social media. Mitchell Robinson's a part of that, so we got to check him when it comes to that. So I don't want to give a guy credit for stuff if he's acting like a 10-year-old on social media. So all these things have to be bunched together, man. So to me, it's all on Tom Thibodeau and all this.
Yeah. All right. Before I give my takes, Apollo, let's hear from you.
So, first off, I don't know why I thought Tibbs was going to allow this team to trade Mitch. I must have been tripping, because he must have saw that what we're seeing now ahead of time. Because I don't know who the hell we thought was going to protect the paint. We didn't have anybody to protect the paint anymore. Like, who you think Tibbs is going to run a team that's not going to protect the paint? Now we're sitting here wondering why Mitch is buying houses and showing his keys in people's faces, because it's like, y'all are dumb. Like, why the hell would Tibbs get rid of me? I'm the only defender left. I'm the only one here. So, I mean, I can't put all of my eggs in Mitch's basket. I can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, you already broke a couple eggs, bro. So I can't. You feel me? Like,
yeah.
I can't put all of them there, but we do need you. You know what I'm saying? Like, now it's more of a need. Before it used to be a want. Everybody wanted Mitch and wanted up. Now it's like, all right, yeah, we need him. Like, everybody might not want him here, but he is needed with this squad. If there's at any point in his Knicks tenure, this is the squad that needs him the most, because you got to get Cat out of there, because he's picking up fouls too easily. He's not in the game most of the time when we need him to score. Bless you.
Sorry.
When you need him to score and be effective, he's not in the game because he's in foul trouble. Our last two games, if he wasn't in foul trouble and he was actually in the game, maybe it wouldn't have been a struggle for us going down the stretch. So I think more than anything, that could have been a reason why they probably the main reason, because I know that him defending the rim is one thing, but I think him being in foul trouble was the main reason why Minnesota was like, yeah, put that guy at the 3-point line. You know what I mean? Like, don't have him guard someone else other than the bigs in the paint, because he's too sloppy to be in there bodying up against real bigs and not drawing fouls. These guys, half of the time, the guys are driving to the basket and he just takes a swipe around them. What are you doing? You are not a small forward, dude. You are a center. Keep your hands up and just stay grounded. It's that simple. But we don't got time to teach guys how to play center. You know what I'm saying? So defensively, if we got now starting Mitch next to him, then the amount of time you play Mitch on the court, that's a different discussion. Because I don't think you can play Mitch all the time out there, because there's spacing issues that we already dealt with having Mitch here. So I think you do have to balance that. But outside of the social media aspect, because that bothers the hell out of me. You're not the only one, Billy. Like, just put the phone down, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to hear it every 3 weeks. You talking about practice and cardio and making me do this and that. Like, dude, like, everybody got a story. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has a story. But at the end of the day, we need him. We need him. He needs to play center. He needs to save Cat so that Cat can be in the game and be effective, so we can be up in game, so that Porty can get in the damn game and get some minutes, useful minutes. Like, all of it falls in line once these guys come back and get healthy. But
yeah,
that's where I am with it.
So I agree with you guys. Ebony's like, I told y'all. Yes and no. I agree that Mitchell Robinson has been the elite defender that he is. When he's available, you cannot take that away from him. But with last year's roster, I didn't like it. And I still wouldn't like it if it was last year's roster. Logjam with Randall in the paint, logjam with Brunson driving, logjam, with Mitchell Robinson. I wouldn't like it. I still would not be a fan of it.
Right.
However, now with Towns being able to spread the floor, not needing to be in the paint if Mitch was there, that's great. Being able to catch rebounds, like friggin' Towns, we said it earlier, has been killing it on the boards. Imagine him and Mitch on the boards. Imagine if one person focused on the boards while the other person focused on the block. Yeah. The only times we're not getting second chance points is when Towns has to jump out and fill that gap, and then there's no one to grab the board besides him because he's not out there, or he shot the three, so there was no one to catch the three if he missed it. If Mitch was there, it's a different game. It's a different scenario. You have opportunities now if you spread things around, or if Mitch at first comes off the bench, now you feel a huge difference. We don't have to see Sims minutes anymore. Praise the Lord. Let's do it. I'm good. Let that happen. My frustration right now is you have a player who is not as skilled as he is, but has similar skill sets in Hukporti. But Hukporti actually has a little bit of an offensive bag. And why are we not testing the waters now to see what Cat could look like in a 4 position with Hukporti, so that if it worked, we know that Mitch fits into that spot immediately. And we're not trying to test the waters when Mitch comes back. Why are we not utilizing that right now so that Hukporti gets minutes, gets some time to grow his skill sets, so that when Mitch comes back, you move Hukporti to the bench. He's already been playing minutes, getting better alongside of Towns and Brunson, and now he's able to fill that role off the bench next to Precious Achua and Miles McBride. I feel like we're wasting time with Mitch out and Sims playing. So I believe Mitch would be great for this team, but for this kind of roster, the way it's constructed now, I see Mitch great. I see him doing what Rudy Gobert did in Minnesota with Towns. I see that. Rudy Gobert didn't have to be a bucket getter. He was just a freaking defensive mindset guy who was able to catch the boards. That's what Mitch can shine in right now. So I do want to see him come back. I do want to see him play with this team. I do want to see someone do what I do with my 6-year-old and put a passcode on his phone during the NBA season that he is not allowed to be on social media. That would be amazing. But I also agree, talking earlier, I said it before, I'll say it again. Play the freaking kids. Like, I'm sorry, when it comes to shot, you can't teach a pure shot like what you see from freaking Tyler Kolek. You cannot teach that. Like, you saw us season after season trying to get that extra little bit in Grimes. Because Grimes had the release, but it was always something when it was the confidence or just shooting the shot or having, that little tweak that needed to be done. We couldn't get it out of Grimes. Tyler Kolek has that immediately. You cannot teach that. He can get better defensively. Like, we can do that. If Tibbs is this mastermind of a defensive coach, he can get that out of him. Like, he can continue to build that in him. But let the kid cook. Let the kid play. Like, he's got the best shot out of anyone on the team. Like, if you look at the way that kid shoots, he's got the purest three-point shot. And he knows how to facilitate. Like, whether or not Tibbs wants him to or not, he knows how to run an offense. Like, you see him with the confidence as a rookie. He gets in, he's pulling guys in and going, let's do this, let's do that, let's do that. You can't coach that. Like, that is just beast mode DNA that's within him. So I want to see that kid get a little more shine as well. Like, I think that those two guys, I know Tibbs has always been super strict on that, but I think we're going to miss out on what we can really do, especially for the long haul, if we don't give these guys some opportunity to start cooking now. But that's my thoughts on that.
I like what you were saying there about the whole just the point of starting a Hukporti, because it sets up for when Mitch comes back, because that makes sense. Like what you're literally wasting time. So I thought that was a good point that you made there. Put Josh Hart on the bench. Let Tyler Kolek get loose. Shooting the ball and stuff like that. We still got Tyler Payne. We still got Miles McBride. Pressure's going to get healthy, so we do have the personnel. But once everybody is healthy, when Mitch is healthy and stuff like that, having Hukporti already set up in that offense, it allows Mitchell Robinson to get into that spot, and then we don't have to start again. So I think I thought that was a good point you made there.
Yeah, and Ebony said, something about Kolek will play once his defense gets better. I know his defense has to get better. But you know what people are scoring on? They're scoring on an exhausted Josh Hart. They're scoring on, an exhausted Mikal Bridges. Because you see when those guys are playing with the second unit towards the end of the game, they're gassed and they're getting beat by their start. Like, think how many stats have we heard about points from the bench as opposed to points from our bench? Why is that happening? Because besides Miles McBride, we don't have any scorers off the bench. We don't have any scorers off the bench. Kolek can be that. How do you do what needs to be done defensively? Same thing we did with Randall and his insufficiencies. Same thing we do with Jalen Brunson not being a great defender. Surround him with defenders. Throw Mikal Bridges in there with him for those minutes. You got McBride and Bridges playing those minutes with him, or McBride and OG playing those minutes with him, Huck Porty playing those minutes with him. Now you have defenders playing around him, and once again, it's not the biggest target because you have people that are helping on defense. So I think there's ways around it. I just don't think we're trying things, and I think that's the problem. Now is the time to try things. We're losing anyway. Why not try? Why not try to see what can work? If you guys can.
That's the frustrating part. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, if you guys can, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, put it on notifications so that you guys know when you're with us. But yeah, let's hear from Billy before we open to the open panel. You guys have had great thoughts. I want to see you guys come up here. Do not be camera shy. If you don't want to be on the camera, that's fine. Just behind, backstage, just give us a thumbs up, show us you're a real person, and then you can turn your camera off. But we want to hear you guys' thoughts. You guys have been killing it in the chat. So after Billy's take, open panel will be up. So join us.
No, that's just the frustrating part, man, through 7 games, man. And I've always been saying, I'm going to wait till at least 20 games, man, to see where the chemistry is, and so I can really judge with this team where the chemistry is at. But right now, with 7 games, I don't need to wait 20 games to see that the Knicks are soft on defense. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to wait 20 games to see that they have absolutely no identity. I don't need to wait 20 games to see that Jalen Brunson is not playing at the caliber we know he can play. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I admit, I've been pacifying Jalen Brunson. I'm putting baby powder down his pampers and stuff. And I've been bathing him. You know what I'm saying? But, I slept on it. I woke up this morning. I watched the replay of the game. Then I thought about the last 2 games as well. He's not playing to the capability of what we know he can. You know what I'm saying? Cat didn't come here to make Jalen Brunson better. He came here to assist Jalen Brunson. So he's not the only threat on the floor. Same with Mikal Bridges. I love the aggression OG is bringing us on the offensive end and defensive end. But right now, Wingstop like he got a drive through. I don't want to hear Wingstop no more. Our perimeter defense is messed up. Defense. It's real frustrating. I'm real angry, and I shouldn't be angry through seven games of 82. I shouldn't be this upset, but I am upset because you got great expectations and great responsibility. And right now, if I'm a Yankee fan, if I can boo Aaron Judge, damn it, I can talk about Jalen Brunson, and I can criticize him as well. You know what I'm saying? And Tom Thibodeau, this is the time you play everybody, bro. This is not February. This is not March. It's November. All right? I'm sitting here on Knicks Twitter arguing with people talking about, oh, they're tired. Nobody's tired in November. But you ain't giving me no leg to stand on when you're not playing the guys that's on your bench. It's the second week of November, and we're mad because rotations ain't. You're essentially running a 6-man rotation, bro. You're really running a 6-man rotation.
Yeah.
We had the worst plus and minus in the league last year when Jalen Brunson went to the bench. When Tyler Kolek came in the game the other night against Atlanta, and him and Deuce was in the backcourt, they went on a nice run. It was good, positive, non-Jalen Brunson minutes. And that's one of the check marks you want to check for improvements from this year to last year. You want to see how good you can be when Jalen Brunson is not on the floor. And then you mess around. This is what Tibbs also had to do. Figure out what guy on your offense, what guy in your starting 5 is going to play with the bench so he can get busy. Which probably needs to be Mikal. Because then everybody's going to be looking for ISOs for Mikal to boogie and do his thing. Because right now, for some reason, Mikal has been the most efficient shooter during the season, but he's not taking a lot of volume of shots. My guy, I traded 6 first-round picks for you. I need you to be selfish.
Yep.
All right? I need you to be absolutely selfish. But I mean, I knew this new open panel, man. I should have been up here earlier. I'm sorry. I'm mad.
You good?
I'm angry.
Yo, the Wingstop has a drive-through was a bar.
Wingstop got a drive-through right now, man.
Right,
I don't know what. Stop calling the Wingstop, bro. Just call them Grubhub, Uber Eats, because it's easy right now.
Nah, you know, you said something true. You know, like, be selfish. You know, like, you are a player that the front office obviously holds in high regard. You know, like, we obviously hold you in high regard. So it's not like you have to earn the right to shoot. It's not like you have to earn the right to have the ball in your hand. We traded all this because we felt you earned the right to be part of this unit, you know? So as soon as you said that, I instantly had that old song, Maybe I'm Selfish. I want you to myself, I can't help it, by Slum Village. I was like, that needs to be his motto for the rest of the season. Like, I'm selfish. I want the ball to myself, and I can't help it. You know, like, let it be. But we got our guy Lee Escobedo. Oh, we did have Lee Escobedo. I was about to bring him up, and he disappeared. Up there he is. My guy Lee Escobedo, my brother before I was even part of the KOT family, and now it's official. Bringing up Lee Escobedo to talk his talk. Yo, what up?
Yo. Salute, man. Double blessings to y'all. Good to see y'all. Billy, finally got to meet you, bro.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Been a fan of your takes for a while, man. Always wanting to have some FaceTime with you, bro. I appreciate your anger. It resonates with me.
Appreciate it. Hey, they making me go turn the clock back, man. So, oh my gosh.
So, Lee, what are your thoughts? Like, when it comes to what needs to change for this to click? Like, we all believe it's going to click, you know, but what are the things that are keeping it from clicking right now, in your opinion?
A 6.5-man rotation in early November is crazy, man. That's like the definition of Tibbs be tibbing. Because if you really account for like 10 minutes of Sims, 4 minutes of Tyler Kolek, that's an insane micromanaging of the rotation. Understand if you got Charlie Brown Jr. and some other bums at the end of the bench, but these rookies, man, this is a wall pair and special. There's no reason why we shouldn't be using positional needs on the court, like a wing like Pacom Dadiat or a big like Arrow Hot Porty. It doesn't make sense to me. So I have some frustrations with Tibbs. Obviously, I mean, it's ad nauseum. The defense is awful, both on the perimeter and in the post. But I think it's not so much Mitch getting bad, which is huge. For me, it's getting Precious bad. His ability to protect the rim, to shot block, to both be a primary defender in the post or a secondary help defender is crucial when you think about his plus-minus numbers, which is Tibbs' most important and most often talked about advanced stat and metric. It's the one he focuses on in adjusting his rotations. At that 20-game mark, he was unbelievable next to Mitch, next to even Sims, and next to OG. So I live for him, and hopefully a week or so when he's back into the rotation, bringing what we need as a primary rim defender. Because right now we're over-relying on zone. We're over-relying on going under screens. I think we should be switching more, at least from the 2 to the 4, and allow for this wing versatility to really show itself. Because Tibbs right now is relying way too much on like single coverage, dictate coverage, and trying to like fight through screens to stay on your man, when in reality, we had the length on the perimeter to at least be good there. But now we didn't be on the perimeter because Brunson and Cat are getting hunted on switches, and Karl-Anthony Towns is not a rim protector, has never been a rim protector, and will never be a rim protector. We have to adjust the roster we have. And that's on Tibbs, man. Tibbs does not have to change. He's going to have to try to find a new way to hide. He's already done a little bit of this in the pick and roll action, moving Cat off of the roll man and sliding in early on an early switch with Hart or OG. That's helped us some, but we're still getting destroyed by these really talented centers. Like Sengun was a great example who just picked our defense apart, not only for himself, but he helped his teammates eat too. I think about the offense. I think the offense will come. Since Tibbs has come with the Knicks, we kind of played like a triangle offense, a light version of that. It emphasizes read and react, emphasizes and rewards spacing, cutting, post play, backdoor passes, And we're doing that. There's a lot of great weak side two-man game between Brunson and Cat, but that's the only two-man game we've really had right now. Those two have developed, I think, some chemistry. Brunson's got to learn how to go off ball, man, because a lot of these opportunities are going to occur when the offense is being run through Bridges, not through Brunson. Brunson has to learn to go back to that Dallas mode where he was playing against Luka, going off ball, being catch and shoot 3-point option, and then to get the rest of the guys involved. Right now, it's ISO ball. It's me. He's running the two-game with Cat. Everyone's getting iced out because we got Mikal Bridges playing like Dr. DiVincenzo in the corner, man. That's not why we traded for him. We need him to be on ball. At that role right now to land a plane. That role that Josh Hart is playing too, it's stifling our offense because there are moments where he'll attack a closeout. He'll kind of operate like a Draymond Green role in the high post to find backdoor cutters or even to play make with that great push shot or the fadeaway shot that he's developed. But that role that he's playing, you think about Chicago, Keith Bogans, you think about Minnesota, Wiggins, in New York, Reggie, Fournier, Grimes, Devo, it's a catch and shoot role. That's not his game. He sits right now in 3-point takes. He's shooting 30% from 3-point line. Why are you going to continue to have him in that capacity? You need to diversify the offense, switch things up. Maybe that role is Deuce. Maybe it's Landry Shamet when he comes back. But Hart is not the right fit in that position that Tibbs has always had since day one as a head coach.
Yeah. And one thing you said, was what we talked about earlier was Mikal's role. Like, I feel like that is something that we should, as a coaching staff for sure, figured out from the get-go. Like, it is too big of a position to kind of have a question mark next to it. Like, this is a guy that the best moments we've seen of him have been midi, like his mid shot, like his mid game. Like, he has been great from the mid. And all of his shots have been pretty dang incredible from the mid. My camera went out for some reason. I'm going to finish talking, though. But from the mid, he's been great. So I don't understand why these last two games, it's pretty much been 3 points only for him instead of him utilizing his mid-range again. But Precious is missed. Where do you guys think Precious will fall in the rotation once he comes back?
I mean, we need more rebounding, right? I mean, like, our two primary rebounders are Towns and Hart, So, and, at the beginning of the year, well, still the beginning of the year, but, earlier in the year, people was even questioning putting Deuce in for Hart, have Deuce start over Hart. I will always say no because now you're just leaving all the responsibility of rebounding to one guy, what I'm saying, which is Towns. Precious is missed for the boards and a presence in the interior defense as well. I don't know, man, because like I said earlier, like every injury that we suffered to this point has hurt our rotation, has been a significant part in our plan, So, and honestly, truth be told, we don't even know when Precious is coming back because he's not even clear to practice right now. So he can be on and you know how New York Knicks medical news is, what I'm saying? We'll hear something one day, and next thing you know, tomorrow we hear that this guy had a setback 4 weeks ago or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So we really don't know when Precious is coming back. But again, that goes back to Tibbs. Play Hot 40. Play these guys so we know what it'll be easier now to see what we have, and we can implement them when we know what guys' real roles is, and trying to figure it out later. I just don't. I'm so frustrated.
As a quick aside, Steve Popper did report that Precious has practiced with the team, so that's why I gave that week to week and a half timeline. I'm being optimistic, but following what the type of trials that Tibbs has his players go through before they return to the rotation on court time, I'm looking forward to him being back. I think he should come off the bench, and the only time the OG should really play the four is to start the game and finish the game. Otherwise, you're mix and matching lineups where OG is at the four or Cat's at the four with Mitchell Robinson when he eventually gets back, or Nets and Sims in some of those rotations. Because right now, OG cannot rebound or protect the rim at the position that he is being played with right now.
Yeah. And that's what was my thought earlier was, either Precious joining the starting lineup when he comes back or Huck Porty, because I really do believe that OG needs to be playing the 3 and Mikal needs to be playing the 2. That makes us a bigger team. That allows, Mikal to be up there to help facilitate with Brunson a little bit more. And it helps Karl Anthony Towns protect the rim. without having to get in such foul trouble. It also allows someone else to help with the boards. I really feel like Josh Hart, as good as he's been, I feel like he would be better coming off the bench with that 1-2 punch with Mitchell, freaking McBride that we saw last year. And it would give us the rebounds that we need off the bench, because right now Karl Anthony Towns is actually doing really well when it comes to boards. That's one thing we can say he is doing well as a big man, is catching boards. So if you get a guy like Precious, who, even though he's not necessarily like an elite defender, he's not also the kind of guy that's going to back down. Like, he's going to put a body on you. I think that would help. Or like I said earlier, Huck Porty minutes gives us an idea of what it would look like with Mitchell Robinson. I agree with you. I think OG would be elite at the 3. I feel like we are lessening what both he and Bridges can be by having him as the 3 and 4 instead of the 2 and 3. So I'll let you guys chime in.
Phil, can I ask you a quick question? I'm sorry, Paulo. My bad. Before I forget, y'all know I got PTSD. Would ego thing come into play if Josh Hart would go to the bench? Would it be like, I'm a $90 million guy, why am I coming off the bench? Do you think that'll happen?
No, I don't think with Josh it would, because I think Josh realized how much of an impact he made for our team off the bench. I actually feel like he would feel like he has a bigger and better role off the bench. And I think that he would get more praise and more shine off the bench, because honestly, right now, most people are talking, about the other guys in the starting lineup. And then they'll be like, oh, but McBride off the bench, Kolek for the 3, where are we suffering right now? Bench points. You go to the bench and all of a sudden you're contributing to our bench points. You're contributing to our bench rebounds. Now you're actually getting the recognition that you deserve as a player. So I honestly don't think that he would have that pride and that ego, because I really do believe that some players say it and are full of crap when they say, I just want to do what the team needs to win. I think Jalen Brunson is actually that guy. Like, I think Jalen Brunson realizes that he's not Mr. All-NBA. He's not going to be, an all-star. He's not going to be any of those things. But if he can help bring a chip to New York, I think that's enough. So I think that he would fit better at the bench, and I think he knows that as well, to be honest. I think that's enough.
Yeah, what did you ask? Oh, okay. Never mind. We were talking about, so I just wanted to chime in with the Precious thing. I think until Mitch comes back, if we try the Precious at the whatever spot, it doesn't really matter. I think depending on who we're playing, you play him at the 4 or the 5, if you're dealing with a stretch 5 or someone who, I guess it really depends. But I think when you take Josh, just getting Josh out of the starting lineup, and putting him there with Deuce, because I don't think Tibbs trusts anybody else on that bench outside of Deuce right now. You know what I mean? And if you put Josh out there with him, at least that gives him time. What it does for me immediately, it takes those minutes where OG and Mikal have to play an insurmountable amount of minutes at one time. At least you can enter Josh in there to get these guys a break, since he's not in the same lineup as them. Especially if you got OG playing the 3 and Josh and Mikal playing the 2, he can come in and assist them with those minutes, and they don't have to have their minutes so high and be burnt out at the end of the games. So, I mean, I think Precious being in there at whatever position, just allowing Josh to come off the bench, which is something he's already asked. I don't know how serious that was, but because how Josh, he just likes to talk trash, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that he was serious about, because it makes sense to me personally. I think it's a lot better of a flow for him off the bench. He doesn't have to sit and wait for these guys to figure out what shot they're gonna put up. And it just flows a little bit better for him. You know what I mean? So I think he can even run some point forward kind of minutes with Deuce. I just think it opens things up for the bench, so that the starters, you don't have to rely so heavily on these 40-minute games, basically, from the starters.
Yeah, and that's one thing I was going to say is, like, and it's a great point, is how many times last year did we see Josh Hart get opportunities to facilitate off the bench? But you look now, you have so many guys in the starting lineup that can facilitate with the ball in their hands. You got Brunson, who's, Brunson. Then you got Towns, who can point center. Then you got Mikal Bridges that, can do some of that as well. You're leaving the facilitating right now because Tibbs is too stubborn to give Kolek, actual minutes. It's just McBride having that responsibility of facilitating on his shoulders. You free some of that up and you allow him Hart to facilitate a little bit. Now McBride's able to get even more open threes, So I think there's, opportunities either way. I don't know the perfect situation, but I do like the idea of a big guy coming in and everybody moving up, everybody moving on up. People talk about, how Towns can't, defend some of these bigger centers. Okay, cool. What if we bring an actual center and Huck Porty in or have Precious, even if he needs to play center, move Towns to the 4, then OG moves up, Mikal moves up, Brunson stays where he's at, Hart goes to the bench. Now you got Precious, you got McBride, you got hopefully Shamet comes back sooner rather than later. You got, Hart all off the bench. Things start to change a little bit. So I think that's the best opportunity. I don't know if we're sold as a franchise on Towns having to be the 5 throughout the whole game. But I think we got to try things right now. I think this is the time to try it.
Yeah, the whole thing right now is like sacrifice. Somebody's going to have to sacrifice, whether we make a substitution or whatever it is. But the common denominator with all this is freaking Tom Thibodeau, and it's extremely frustrating because I'm looking at the Atlanta Hawks roster. They have injuries also. They was missing DeAndre Hunter. He's like a major piece for them. You know what I'm saying? So instead of crying and going to a 6-man rotation like the Knicks are doing, they actually used a bunch of bums too. Keaton Wallace and David Roddy. They used guys like that, and they were trying to utilize them in the game to beat us last night. But the Knicks are not doing the same thing. And I forgot. I think it was Billy that mentioned the trust thing. Or somebody mentioned trust. Tom Thibodeau with this trust thing. Listen, man, like even if you're playing with little kids in a bitty league, you can look at these kids and say, these kids can't dribble, so I don't trust them. No, you put the kids out there. So listen, man, we worked on this. You remember how to play defense? All right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna trap this kid here, and as soon as you get the steal, then run out. A kid can run really fast. So as soon as you get the steal, make that kid run out. At least try to get a layup or something like that. You utilize the roster that you have. There's no excuse for losing games because you're not using the personnel that you have on the bench. And this is professional sports. This is not bitty leagues. You know what I'm saying? This is not somebody like a dad, on his day off, coaching kids and stuff. This is Tom freaking Thibodeau with all the accolades and stuff like that. So he has the personnel on the bench. So and he had a full training camp and all this stuff. He has all the coaching staff that he needs to get the point across or whatever. He brought Mark Bryant's bum ass in there, to coach the team too, man. So he got his peoples, here. So there's no excuse for us to be unprepared every single night, not being able to trust certain players and not noticing that guys open in the corner. We make no adjustments and stuff like that. We have guys that can shoot the 3 and Tyler Kolek, but we're not utilizing him in space too. So that all that is extremely frustrating. So all the clever things that we're saying right now, Tom Thibodeau should be utilizing that in the game, and that is extremely frustrating to hear you guys talk about it, because somebody that's paid to do that and has been doing that for so many years, and he's had the experience that we're talking about this, and it's embarrassing to tell you the truth.
Yeah, and let me chime in real quick. I want to address something going on in the chat. My guy Waco and Brooklyn, appreciate you being here. But it's all love, bro. There's no need to be attacking people in the chat. You're talking about how people are trying to say what Tom Thibodeau, 40 plus years coaching, who are we to say? Yo, this is sports analysis. Like, who is none of us have.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
The Matrix.
The take was too fire.
Well, I agree with Wacko. Wacko's been kind of like botting the whole podcast, basically saying the same thing. We're kind of like overreacting, but there's no we're literally talking about the Knicks and stuff like that. So what is there else to talk about but the Knicks? Really, this is what's happening. So we have to talk about what's happening presently. So I think that's what Phil's trying to say.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, my bad. So what I was saying is, none of us have coached. That's great. That does not mean we don't have insight. That does not mean we don't have eyes. That does not mean we have not spent years following this team and loving this game. Just like you have thoughts, we have thoughts. And people obviously want to hear them. That's why people are here. If you don't like them, I understand. That's cool. You don't have to rock with what we're saying necessarily. However, we're all going to be respectful of each other's takes. That's one thing that we are going to do. And so what I will say is 40 years of coaching does not make you unable to be wrong in what you're doing. There's a reason why certain coaches win and certain coaches don't in certain opportunities. And that's because of the choices that they make. So that does not mean just because he's been here for 40 years that we can't have opinions, that his opinions are elite and ours are not. Matter of fact, if you look at it, even though I've liked Tibbs these past, 2 seasons, Tibbs has never won a championship. So Tibbs has just as many championships under his belt in the NBA as I do. So we kind of have the same criteria when it comes to how many chips we've brought home for the Knicks. We're just sharing our thoughts. We're sharing what we think can improve the team. We appreciate your thoughts and your opinions on it as well. All I say is do so respectfully, because we respect all the people that are on this panel and we respect all the people that are in the chat. And we ask that if you're going to rock in the chat, that you do so as well and that others respect you in exchange.
I'm going to piggyback on that. I'm going to counter some of the. I mean, I guess he kind of started with me. I guess I'm being critical or harsh. I still think the Knicks don't win a championship. I still think Tom Thibodeau is going to win Coach of the Year. I think these mistakes are going to be ironed out because look, we're already top 5 in offense and we're top 10 in net rating. Like the offense is fire, even though it's clunky and there's a lack of chemistry. We're still bombing threes. Cat is getting whatever he wants on offense. He's bodying just about everyone that's trying to guard him. Brunson's off and we're still kicking everybody's ass. Bridges is being used as a spot-up shooter in the corner, and we're still blowing teams out like Detroit and beating Indiana. So I'm not terribly worried about how the season eventually concludes. I think we still hoist that Larry O'Brien trophy at the end of this season. There's a lot to be optimistic about and be able to foresee with how things are clicking now once they hit their full potential to be a top 3 team in the NBA and to be on our way to the finals. It's going to take both the coach and the player to adjust to their new surroundings and new teammates. But all these guys have been in the NBA a while. This was not a roster lacking of talent. It's not a Phil Jackson era team or a Zeke Thomas era team. This team, it has a lot of, it's top heavy, but the bench has a lot of veteran experience too. And I think once we get Shamet back, Precious, Mitch, we're not operating with a full deck right now, and we're operating with a lot of rookies that have to fill in and spot minutes. So I think once we're at least 75, 80% of the rosters there, then these issues iron themselves out, we are going to be a dominant-ass team. Maybe not on defense, but on offense, and we'll be at least adequate on defense, hopefully, when we get our full front court back.
Facts. Yes, sir. Facts. Yeah, and at the end of the day, these guys right here, they critique my takes. Why? Because we want to sharpen each other. We want to keep each other's minds, growing for the love of the game. There's times that me and Lee will go back and forth because we don't agree. Me and Eru, same thing. Me and Apollo, me or Billy, like that's part of why we love this. Like, how many times are you in a room full of your friends and someone shoots a 3 and you're like, what the heck are you doing? Why are you shooting that shot? Are you stupid? Wait. Are you saying that like you have a better opinion than the guy who's actually in the NBA shooting the 3-pointer? No, obviously that person shooting the 3 is better than you are, but you see something and you're like, why are you shooting that shot? You're critiquing from the outside because you see something. You see that it was a poor shot. You see that someone was open. That doesn't mean that you are taking away the credibility of that person. And to LP Star, who tried to combat me and said, what are you talking about? Tibbs won with Celtics. He was an assistant coach. Let's not do that. I'm talking about just Tibbs alone. So anyway.
Man, this is barbershop. This is barbershop talk. All right. This is barbershop talk, bro. Are y'all getting cashed out by Tibbs? Y'all relax, man. All right, cut this out, man. Like, come on, man. Stop. I want to say this is mentality. I mean, this is crazy. Stop. I mean, we're talking about everybody's allowed to be critiqued. All right, especially a coach who's been coaching for 40 years, as y'all say, that's never even been to an NBA Finals.
Yep.
I'm going to critique that coach because, truth be told, even though he just signed an extension, let him do anything short of an Eastern Conference Finals this year. I'm asking for Mike Malone. I'm being honest with you. There's no time to play no more. We have brought a roster in to fit Tibbs' needs. Everybody that is here, guess what? Is because they bought into Tibbs' system. Now it's up to Tibbs to implement that system and get it done. That's why it's called a championship window. You have a certain amount of years within that window, within that core of people that's on that team to win a chip. And if it doesn't happen, it is a complete failure. We have not been in this position. I'm sorry, y'all might eat my fantasy updates. If you guys are hearing them, I apologize. I forgot to mute them. I apologize. We have not been in this position in over a quarter of a century. You know what I'm saying? So everybody is allowed to be critiqued. And, you know, and as far as that guy that's in the chat, man, shout out to him. But don't make him famous. It's fine. It's fine. It'll be okay.
All right.
That's the thing, though. Even though he's saying that it's a little bit annoying to see, and the thing, it is valid, though, because if we were in the barbershop, there would be a guy like that talking, and we'll be all ranking on each other.
There's always one.
Yeah.
I think we're not losing to the teams that we shouldn't lose to. Atlanta has been very competitive. The games they've lost, they've been in it to the buzzer. Dyson Daniels has been an immediate impact player for them on the perimeter. Yeah, no shit that he didn't locked up Jalen Brunson. Like, that made sense. He's been one of the best defensive upticks in the entire season. Like, all right, that made sense. The next 7 games is going to be a great sample size for the pros and cons of Tom Thibodeau, because we play 6 ass-crack teams, and then we play the Indiana Pacers. Everyone else, Milwaukee Bucks, I think Brooklyn's in there 2 times, the Bulls are in there, the Philly's in there with a depleted roster. If we get blown up by 20 by one of those ass-crack teams, it's time to have a serious conversation. Sure, now into time, though. At what we've done and both the games we've won and the games we lost, nothing's been egregious. We have lost games we should have won, but they haven't been egregious losses. It's been in a space to have nuanced conversation about the how and the why. This next 7-game stretch, let's see what happens. If we lose 5 out of 7, then we're going to have some serious conversations about the head coaching position.
Facts.
15 seconds. I'm sorry, 15 seconds.
Yeah.
The disadvantage, I'm not making excuses by no means. Everybody knows me. No, I don't make excuses. But I will say the cards we got handed, we did acquire Cat a day before Media Day.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it changed the whole aspect of our plan moving forward to this year. So of course, that's where all that new trying to find chemistry and all that stuff comes in. So that is something to think about. But with that being said, Tibbs is still Tibbs. He's a 66-year-old coach, and it's very hard to tell guys who've been coaching and doing anything for that long to change. So he's real stubborn in that aspect.
So we talked about this first episode. We talked about this now. You know, I think that was a crazy lack of judgment by the front office in waiting so long to make that trade, to be honest. Because we preached so much that, like, this front office is based on continuity. Continuity wins championships. Continuity wins championships. We heard that all last season. And the whole fan base, it took us a while to actually, like, vibe with it and believe in it. And then by the end of the season, we're all like, continuity, you know, like, that's going to take us to where we got to go. And then all of a sudden, like, right before the season starts, continuity's out the window, and we're starting the season with players that have never suited up with each other. You know, so I understand that there's going to take time, but both things can be true. And that's the problem with too many people that are part of this fan base, is that they don't realize that it's not an either or. It's not, oh, we have a new roster, so it doesn't matter that the front office is struggling. No, we have a new roster based off of the decision of the front office going out and getting the players that they wanted. So now there's more responsibility on their shoulders. Yes, it needs to come together. None of us have said in this timeline, Tibbs should be fired right now. We are all saying that if it's not Eastern Conference, that's an issue. Like, that's an issue. Like, we're giving ourselves a long time to actually gel and see this team come together. We're talking about playoffs. So we're not drawing unrealistic expectations of this team being, on the Celtics level or the Cavs level of chemistry right now. What we are saying is you got all the pieces that you wanted. This is what we've been hearing for years, that they wanted Cat, that they wanted that superstar. They got Brunson. They built around Brunson. You have everything you want. The chips are on your table now, like front office. Everything is for you guys now to show up. Right here, Ebony said it best. Tibbs has to do better. There's nothing wrong with saying someone has to do better. No one's calling them trash. Like, I actually went from hating Tibbs 3 seasons ago to being like, all right, I'd probably have some whiskey with this guy, try to make him smile. I'd chill with this guy. So there's a huge difference. Shout out to my guy CT Pittman for being in the building. Appreciate you, bro. Always showing love. Thank you for being who you are and just your attitude and your positivity. You're always a blessing. Even like you said, and then even when we get that continuity, then we still got to get Mitch acclimated. There's going to be even more, so that's the thing with me is if we're right now don't have the chemistry, that's why I think now's the time to try things, see what works. Because if we still have to build from the ground up when it comes to chemistry, let's try now and then find the right situation and then build on that. But anyway, we had open panel up for a while. Some of y'all love to talk in the chat, but none of y'all want to show your faces and stand behind your words. That's a little sad. I want to see y'all up here. I want to see you guys coming out. But before we close out, I want to talk about this, guys. All right. Our next game. We got a game tomorrow. All right. We're going up against the Bucks tomorrow. All right. And they got their first win. Hey, congratulations to the Bucks. They beat the Jazz, who have been absolutely horrible all season. So what are your guys' predictions going up against the Bucks, a team that Giannis himself has said we don't have an identity right now? We don't know what our identity is, which is crazy because this guy who's getting paid billions can say they don't have an identity and it's okay. But if we say we don't think a team has an identity, we get crucified. It's crazy. Anyway, so what are your guys' thoughts on tomorrow's game? I'll start with you, Eru.
I'm looking at the roster. They're trying to figure it out too. They played a lot of players in the last game, even though they did win, 23-point win. But they played a lot of players. They played with 8 guys in rotation. They end up playing most of the roster. So I mean, they don't have it have all the answers either. It's still the beginning of the season. So I mean, if Giannis plays, it's always going to make it a game. But I just think the way that they're situated, the Knicks can defend them a little bit better than say like a team like Atlanta or the Rockets, because they don't really have like wings that disrupt like that. They still have the 3-point shooting. They have Gary Trent Jr., but he's still trying to figure it out. He didn't even play. He only played like 8 minutes. So, like I said, they're trying to figure it out. So I think the Knicks will probably have like a bounce back type of game. As long as we contain Lillard and Giannis, I think everything should be fine. So we should be able to get a win against some of the Bucks.
Yeah. All right, Lee.
Yeah, the Bucks. I'm glad they finally got their first win, because if they were winless, I would be like, damn it, here it comes. Like, they'll get that first W against the Knicks.
Yep.
Second win. Second win. They won opening night, and then they lost 6 in a row. This was
that's right. Correct. Yes. I appreciate that clarification. They recently made that adjustment, taking Gary Trent Jr. out of the rotation and moving in Andre Jackson as more of a defensive stalwart, more longer, sits, better defender than Gary Trent. And that helped them get that win. Now they have someone that can guard a backcourt player, but Jalen Brunson, I think, is going to cut both of them. He'll probably be hunting Dame Lillard all night. I don't think they're going to have an answer. We have some matchup advantages there, both at the point and at the 5. I think this is a night that Karl-Anthony Towns has another dominant double-double, both in the rebounds and in points, getting guarded by Brook Lopez. Combination of Brook Lopez, probably some Taurean Prince in frontage coverage, and then Bobby Portis off the bench. He's going to cook, and we're going to see the best of the pick and roll action between him and Brunson. Their 3-point shooting, I'm not terribly concerned about because a lot of the shooters aren't movement shooters, nor are they really pure shooters. It's a lot of volume shooting outside of Brook Lopez. So I'm not really worried. They're not one of those dangerous teams where the ball moves at OKC and it's just like bombing away from three at 5 out. They're a team that can be a little bit more contained. It's all about Giannis. How engaged is he defensively? He could be a problem for us if they end up switching him on Brunson. I don't think they will because you still got to guard Mikal and OG. So I like our wing depth finally, guarding guys like Giannis. We've so long for 10 years. Hell, 20. We didn't have anyone to guard those really long, tall wings. Pause. Now we do. We got 2 or 3 guys, and I think we're going to do well containing him and forcing someone else to get a bucket. And we're going to keep Dame in the mid-range and keeping out of the paint. I think we have a really good advantage here, both in size and shooting.
All right, Billy.
I actually tweeted before the season I thought Milwaukee would be a below top 5 team in the East. I think they're on a decline. I think it's over for Milwaukee, honestly.
Agreed.
They don't have no depth. They're old. They're slow. Middleton is out. He's been like the Eastern Conference version of Klay Thompson the last couple of years. You know what I'm saying, with the knee injuries and all that stuff. Them being who they are might be a little bit of medicine for us. It might be what we need at the time to get our stuff right. I don't really see too many matchup issues, but again, Tibbs just don't be stubborn against a team that has a weaker bench than you do right now. You know what I'm saying? Wear them down because we know they got 2 offensive threats and Giannis and Dame, and they got a bonus guy, maybe Portis. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what night, if he wants to show up or whatever the case is. Yeah, shout out to the Knicks. Yes, slower in the half court, man. It could benefit us, no doubt. I hope this is a game Jalen Brunson sees Damian Lillard and try to find some inner motivation. Remember, this is the guy that started over you in the All-Star game last year when a lot of people was calling you the best point guard in the Eastern Conference last year. He got the votes that started over you. Use some kind of fuel, use some kind of inner motivation to get back on track. Because right now we're not seeing the Julius Brunson, the Jalen Brunson we saw from last year. You know what I'm saying?
That says a lot right there.
Yeah, I know. Trust me. So I hope he does use that extra motivation, man. Like right now, it's time for these guys to get on track, man. I know, like I said, it's only 7 games. I'm definitely not panicking. I understand patience or whatever, but you guys are better. You shouldn't be this unorthodox, this hard to look at right now, even though it's the start of the season, man. Go out there, play hard against Milwaukee. They're still mad at you last year because you leapfrogged them in the standings and you beat them to get them 50 wins last year. Like, again, find some kind of inner motivation, man. But because right after Milwaukee, we got they'll be here on Sunday in Indy, and then they got Philly to start the in-season tournament. So the ball is rolling, man, and they're going to start playing a lot of good teams or teams that's supposed to be contending. So the Knicks got to step it up, man. But I think hopefully we pull out this victory tomorrow night. I'm not even going to sit there and say it's going to be a guarantee or nothing like that, but hopefully we do.
All right. Before I go, I'll let Eru go.
Well, it's Apollo. Apollo got to go next.
Apollo. Yeah.
So good. Don't worry about it. So I ain't taking no kind of way. So, I mean, you guys hit all the good points. Let's see. I grabbed the scraps and see what I could do with it. I just think if we can play efficient basketball and hit our shots, I think we started slow. That's the number one thing. If we don't start slow, we don't have to play catch up for the rest of the game. And that's not the team you want to give rhythm. Like, you don't want to give Dame rhythm. You don't want to give Giannis that rhythm, because then that's it. You know what I mean? They build that chemistry. They might not even play like that again the next game. But if you give them that rhythm in that game, you're gonna get, you're gonna have a problem. So I think if they get up in them very early and set the tone early, that's the thing that we have to learn how to do as this team. We've had an issue with that because if you remember, I might have mentioned it a couple shows ago, Julius Randle was one of the best first quarter scorers in the league. So once you lose that, you got to replace it. You know what I mean? We look to Julius for a lot of our offense in the first quarter, and that's what helped us get out of those first quarter ruts that we were in a lot of times. So you got to get going. You got to make some shots. We got to find somewhere where we can get in there, and it just can't just be one and dones like Clyde likes to say. He'll tell you right away, one and done. He'll tell you right away when it's like, all right, what the hell are you doing? So, get everyone involved. Like we said before, swing the ball around. Let the ball. What you say, Eru? Let the ball. What? How did that the phrase?
I say a lot of stuff I don't remember, but you know, you got to let everybody touch the ball. Just let the ball move around. You know,
let the ball move around. So yeah, basically, and you know, they're a slow team. They don't really get up and run up and down the court that much. So I think with the wing defenders that we have, we should be good. I really think that this is the game that should show why we got these kind of guys and how they can be effective. So I mean, and as far as it's 7 games. Like you said, last year we were 3-4. The year before that, we were 3-4. You know what I mean? That was the year we got Brunson, and the year after was the year we got who did we add? I think we added Dante. I think that was it.
Hart.
No, Josh Hart was mid.
You got Dante in the off season, and we traded for Josh Hart.
Yeah, right. So and then you added OG later on that year. So it takes a while. It's a slow start. It kind of what happens, but like Lee said, the next couple games, like you got some easy games in there for you to catch a rhythm. You know what I mean? You got the Nets in there back to back. Let's take care of that. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of games in there that I don't want to see us even struggling. So hopefully they learned something the past couple games, and you know I think we should win this game. It's on us, especially like Lee said once again. Great point. I'm glad they won that game because they would have came here on fire, just like Atlanta did last night. And we don't want that. We don't want that issue. So
been happening for 20 years.
Yeah,
yeah, like
exactly. So
yeah,
I think we got it.
Well, so to me, this is a game we should win.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to play devil's advocate on one thing though, and that is these last 2 games. We have been atrocious when it comes to points in the paint and stopping points in the paint. Like that has been something we have been very bad at, is defending points in the paint. And this is one of those games where I'm like, come on, give Huck Porty some kind of minutes, because Sims is not going to be able to defend them. Towns is going to struggle a bit when it comes to these guys, because if you look, like, these aren't scrubs at the center position, you know, like, and if that is a weakness that we have, these are the kind of guys that are vets enough to know that this is a weakness that we have by the time they play us. Like, these aren't guys that are going to find out after the game tomorrow, oh, we should have, you know, tried to play them in the paint because they were doing bad in the paint. Like, no, they've studied us, you know, like they know that we're struggling with defense in the paint. So when you got guys like Brook Lopez, who, you know, are, you know, seasoned vets, they're going to try to get points in the paint. Giannis is going to try to get a lot of his points in the paint. You're going to have Bobby Portis trying to bully ball and get points in the paint. So we need to figure out how to defend the points in the paint tomorrow. Like, we need to figure that out, because if you look, points in the paint wise, I would say Milwaukee's a better points in the paint style team than the Hawks and the Rockets. And yet both of those teams were able to, like, pick us apart when it came to the paint. They're smaller than the Bucks. They're not as seasoned in the paint as the Bucks. So I think, like, a lot of where the Bucks have struggled is, you know, that their actual scorers haven't been full-on scorers. Like, you know, Dame has struggled quite a bit when it comes to shooting, which is something that they've relied on and stuff like that. But I think if we don't do something to focus on defense tomorrow in the paint, then we'll struggle. And we shouldn't lose to this team, because I believe we are a better team. But if we don't try to figure out how to play defense in the paint, if we don't try to get some Huck Porty minutes in there, if we don't try to do something to help us be more dominant in the paint, then that could be our, you know, crux tomorrow. So I don't want to see that. I want to see us come out with the victory. But that's the only thing I could say, is we've struggled where they can shine, where they have the strength and abilities to shine. So that's something to look out for tomorrow. But before we close out, I'll let you, anybody, if anyone's got any closing thoughts, thank you all in the chat for rocking with us. There's been over 150 plus of you guys. Right now, there's over 165 of you guys watching. So thank you guys so much. You guys have been consistent throughout the chat. I know we're new to this channel, and so we appreciate the Nick of Time family embracing us. We appreciate you guys in the chat that have come over to their channel and those that have been part of the channel that have embraced us as well. If you can, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Sharing is, super, super beneficial and a blessing to all of us, from us to the Nick of Time guys and Ebony. Any support is huge for us as we grow our channel, as we continue to bring shows and, create shows. All of your guys' support matters. So please like, subscribe, tell somebody about it. If you guys can, always save this barcode. If one day you're just feeling generous while you're driving down the street and you're at a stoplight and you're like, man, Phil likes coffee, let's buy the guys a coffee. Go for it. We don't care. We appreciate it. We love it. Shout out to all the other content creators that were in the building that come through to support, especially my guy, Ron. You are a blessing to anyone that knows you. So thank you guys so much. But I'm going to let everybody give their closing thoughts before we head out. I'll throw it to you first, Lee.
Blessed to be here, approaching 3 years sober. Love being able to talk Knicks as someone who's in Dallas, Texas, and very isolated from a lot of other Knicks fans besides my father, which is the reason why I became a Knicks fan. He's from Long Island. Needed something to bond with him over. Chose the Knicks the year after they went to the conference finals. So I have only known misery from that point on. It's been a rough ride, but I've learned a lot about ball. I was never someone athletically gifted able to play. I'm a huge reader and watcher. So I watched a lot of coaching breakdowns and play calling breakdowns and just watch a game and learn so much from my Nick of Time show family, Jay Ellis, Ebony, Ryan, and Fritz. So I'm just happy to be here. Blessed to have Phil here as part of a KOT show. Glad to finally meet my main man, Billy, face to face. Looking forward to both. I agree with all of your takes tonight. I look forward to debating you as well, because you're one of my favorite people in terms of how you deliver your takes. So I've always been looking forward to getting into a good debate with you. Apollo Diehard just gave y'all shout outs on Twitter. Man, I haven't been moved in a while by just talking ball. This was great. I really have to go to my KOT family when I need to be challenged. But I really like y'all's point of view. Not saying I'm a savant, but a lot of it takes a very surface level on Twitter. A lot of angry or positive. We don't get a whole lot of nuance. So I appreciate that, man. It was great meeting y'all. I will be here more often than I'm not, just to show Phil's support. I have a lot of love for you, brother. I'm glad
love you're bro. Thank you, bro. Seriously, Lee, since day one of connecting, you've been, nothing but kind and instantly became family. We've talked hardships of life. We've talked Knicks. And you're someone that I know is always going to be there, and likewise in exchange. So we appreciate you, bro. Love hearing your takes. Love watching you, debate with the fam and everybody else. So keep doing you, bro. Appreciate you. Eru, what up?
What's up? I got a bunch of stuff to say, but I mean, we're trying to get out of here and stuff, man. But it's good to hear that you're sober, man. I gave up drinking for a little while too, for 18 months, for the same reason, just drinking way more than I needed to. I was even drinking on the channel when I first came on the YouTube. But this right here, I almost died this year in 2018. That's why this jersey's up there. And it just so happened that when this jersey came out, it's all black, so it kind of like adds to that story there. So everybody has a story when it comes to it. But I just appreciate meeting people like me, because in my everyday life, just like you said, like it's just you and your dad. New York is full of Knicks fans, but there's a lot of asshole Knicks fans out there, lack of a better word, what I'm saying? So I'm looking for real Knicks fans where, yeah, you're mad about the team, but you don't even know anybody on the team. You can't even give proper takes or anything like that. But I just long to meet people to talk about the Knicks. So that's why I do content creating, and that's why I just gravitated to Phil. You know what I'm saying? Apollo, I think I'm Apollo's biggest fan, and I love Billy too, man. Billy's dope. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's just a blessing to be a part of the community, for people to just to come to you for takes and stuff like that, to be a part of the whole universe. I just think it's dope, man. So
glad you're here, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Eru. From the first time we talked, it was instant connection. And then the first time we met in person, it was just like, did I not go to high school with this guy and like spend every single waking moment? Like, kicking it with him on the stoop, it is just beautiful. So I appreciate you, man. This is one reason I love this show so much and love it being part of this channel now, is that it's just people that I can honestly say I respect them, from Knicks takes to real life. Every single person on this panel I've spent time with. We've talked about life and not just Knicks. It's not surface. And each one of you guys, I hope by this time, know that there's not a single thing that you guys can go through that you can't pick up the phone and know that, I will be there on the other end. So Apollo, throw it to you.
Man, great vibes as always, man. I love talking Knicks with you guys. It's always been a great, you throw this in there and then I'm in there just, I just can't shut the hell up sometimes. But, I really enjoy it. Knicks is something that, I really, I love the Knicks. I've always been a New Yorker. That's just the thing about me. I love my Knicks, and I don't really. It's weird. I don't support any other New York teams as much as I support the Knicks. Like I got love and respect for a lot of the other New York teams. But me and my brother always bonded with the Knicks growing up. So it was always, that's why I started my channel with Gardo Knicks. And because most of the time that would just be us on the phone. It'd be hours of we just talking about the Knicks for hours. You know what I mean? And that's just like you, Lee. That's a area of connection with somebody, and it's nostalgic. So it's good to sit here and just talk Knicks without people throwing curse words and all that kind of shit around, because people just get emotional. We're an emotional fan base, but to say the least. But
say the least, yeah.
But I enjoy this, man. It's like I said, I've always talked about how much I met with Phil and met with Eru. I got to meet with you again, Phil. I missed you last time you were in town.
I know, man.
But good, great guys. I saw Eru in person. It was like you said, Phil, is like I saw an old friend that I ain't seen in a long time.
I was like a schoolgirl when I met you guys, man. I'm a big fan of you guys, especially when the audio stuff, man. So when I saw you guys, I was like, oh my god! I was like, oh, give me a hug and stuff. It was weird, it's weird this whole thing, but it's
yeah, man. It's always been love, man. So shout out to everybody. Lee, it's the first time I get to chop it up with you, Billy. I always get to see you going at everybody in his faces and dropping your videos and all that. So I'll be sitting back and watching. I'm quiet. I watch a lot. I don't talk a lot, but I watch a lot. I like to stay in the background. That's just how I am. But this is fun. I love it. I'll never turn down an opportunity to do this with you guys. So next week, can't wait. Hopefully we got some good news to talk about involving our Knicks. But yeah, man, appreciate you guys for having me, and shout out to the KOT show once again. Appreciate you guys for the opportunity and giving us the shot to be up here with y'all, man. Appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir. All right. And without further ado, my guy, Billy, another one who, like Apollo said before I go on, we met in Charlotte over a cigar and some whiskey, and we just talked for hours. We ended up closing down the shop, heading into my rental car, and playing beats for each other for like over an hour. Like, yo, what beats you got to rock with? Well, right. I haven't recorded this one yet, but I've had it for like 2 years, and him and I just going off of ideas, and like thinking of what could be, to realizing we just need to do this thing together. So appreciate you, Apollo and Billy. Like I said, we said it in person. We've said it to many people. The connection was instant. It was acknowledging both of our journeys in life and realizing that this is a blessing that we get to be alive. We get to do this. We get to, even share our takes, and people even care to hear anything. So you're a person that's always taming the wild beasts known as Twitter. Yours is the only space besides maybe Eddie every once in a while, because, Eddie's family. But besides the longevity of knowing Eddie, I pretty much steer clear of most Twitter spaces, because I never know how many people who maybe watch their first basketball game and all of a sudden I'm the one who doesn't know basketball because they watched 3 games on League Pass the first week that they got it, and so it's hard to tame those kind of people. But Billy shuts it down with the quickness, and it's a beautiful, safe space to be in, Billy's space, and Billy will call you out when you're being ridiculous. So, Billy, let's hear your closing thoughts. I appreciate you, bro.
Nah, man. I appreciate everybody up here, man. Lee, congratulations on your sobriety, man, for 3 years. That's awesome, brother. Keep doing your thing. Eru, always a pleasure to be on the panel with you, man. Even when I see you posting something on Twitter, man, I automatically like it because I know it's something I'm gonna enjoy before I even read it or whatever. Paulo, same to you, man. Shout out to you, brother. And Phil, thank you, man. Tonight was actually therapy for me. I came late. I wasn't really gonna come up today. Just feeling away. Tomorrow will be 4 years since my father had passed. And so, I was just feeling some kind of way a little bit, man. So, but I said, you know what? God don't make no mistakes, man. Phil hit me up for a reason. Somebody, yo, you sleep? I'm like, nah, I'm good. I said, but let me get up on here, man. So it's therapy. Probably a little long day for me tomorrow, but, this too shall pass, for that little time or whatever, man. So I thank you for allowing me to be on this panel with you guys, man. It's always a pleasure talking Knicks. Being on here is clearly a different genre than it is on Knicks Twitter. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you in the alley in New York on Knicks Twitter, you know what I'm saying? And here you're almost in Bible study, you know what I'm saying? Not quite there, but you're almost there. So it's a little different, a little different genre. Over there it's pay-per-view. Over here it's just local TV, so it's all good. But shout out to y'all, man. I enjoy it, man. Damn, I gotta mute these damn fantasy notifications. I'm sorry.
Nah, you good.
Lamar's in the red zone. But yeah, man, I enjoy talking Knicks with you guys, man. I enjoy doing this on a lighter note, it's definitely the professionalism. Shout out to the people in the chat. Phil, and shout out to you, man, for doing everything you do. Jay Ellis, Ebony, all the KOT, thank you so much for allowing us to do this because, without y'all, there's no us, I guess. You know what I'm saying? So, but shout out to everybody, man. God bless everybody, and God bless all the ladies of the Knicks Twitter community as well, man. So, what's understood don't need to be spoken upon. Just God bless all the women as well, man.
Yeah. I appreciate you, Billy. I will be praying for you tonight and tomorrow, bro. I'm off tomorrow, so seriously, bro, like I don't care what time of day it is. We're just chilling tomorrow. Give me a call if you need to talk, you need to vent, you need to pray, whatever you need, bro. Call me.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You'll be in my thoughts regardless, though. And I'm thankful for your honesty with that, bro. And trusting us with that. To everyone in the chat, thank you guys so much for rocking with us, for showing support. We know we're a new show on this channel. And a lot of people on my old channel don't even know where to find me now. So those of you guys that have done the work to, find me, appreciate you guys for coming and rocking with us, supporting the 3-4 of us on this channel now. I'm locked out of the old channel, can't even get the password to get our old content. So, it's fun. But yeah, so I can't even let those people know where we're at. So those of you that showed up in the chat, like on Dio saying, finally, I found you. Appreciate you, actually doing the hard work to follow us. Hopefully we get a W tomorrow and we'll have more to celebrate. We got a few games coming up. So do us a favor. We are only on once a week, but the KOT family, especially Lee is always on. After every single game, you can come and hear Lee break down what was great or what was absolutely horrible. So before next week, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 games that we'll be able to talk about next week, and Lee will be able to talk about them every single night right after the show. Typically, they go on about 30-40 minutes after the end of the game. So support him, Jay Ellis, Ebony, Ryan, Fritz, and the rest of the squad. Eru does his shows during the game, so support that as well as he breaks it down for you. And Apollo pops up like the boogeyman every once in a while on Guard Up Knicks, so make sure you got notifications on there as well. Shout out to Make It Make Sense for the $4.99 super chat. We appreciate you so much. And once again, thank you guys so much. God bless, and we will see you guys next week. And hey, I actually know how to end the show now and have the stream play because last week was crazy. So now, thank you, live stream. Appreciate you guys, and here comes the outro.
This is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot 'em a shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now.